Get your films on with the Blurds.
Once an idea has taken hold of the brain, it's almost impossible to eradicate.
Unpacking movies has never been more spot on, woke, fire, and just plain lit.
They are lit all the time.
So if you're unsure whether or not to plop down some cash for a film, check out the Blurds.
When a man with a 45 meets a man with a rifle, the man with a pistol is a dead man.
Rondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolyte.
You really only need to hang, mean bastard. But mean bastards, you need to hang.
Don't say you weren't warned.
Ridiculous.
Here's Brandon and Jeff.
Welcome to episode 83 of the Film Blurds. I'm Brandon Norwood, and I'm going to pass it right over to Jeff to do his intro because we got a fucking long-ass show.
All right, I'm Jeff Stewart, and we'll put the AKAs, we'll put them at the end.
All right, so let's start off with HBO Max. They did a whole presentation at the beginning of April, and they are going to become just Max at the end of May because they're going to combine Discovery Plus and HBO Max together. Their reasoning for calling it Max instead of HBO Max is they feel like HBO is its own brand and needs to have its own branding. I think that's fucking stupid because HBO is a recognizable name and you probably would want that to sell your streaming service, but whatever.
Right. Like here's the thing. When I think of Max, I think of Cinemax, right? Because wasn't there a Cinemax app, a streaming platform?
Well, when it was first announced, that's what we all thought it was going to be, HBO Max, a combination of HBO and Cinemax is nowhere to be found. The only content on this from Cinemax on HBO Max is Warrior, which I only seen the first episode. I got to finish that. And then The Nick. And that's it. Like, you can't see all the other shows they produced for Cinemax, which is a shame.
Right. Like,
honestly, at this point, they should just shut Cinemax down. It's like Encore. Why is Encore still a fucking channel?
Yeah, I have no idea. But, like, I hate the name Max.
It's so generic,
right? Like HBO Max, I get, right?
Yes,
because it's HBO. Like I know what I'm getting into.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about Discovery.
Oh yeah, I don't want to watch 90 Day Fiance or My 600-Pound Life. Like I don't like watching exploitative docuseries that are just trash series. I don't like watching that shit.
Right. Look, I'm still going to watch shit on Max. I'm going to call it HBO Max from now on. I'm not going to call it Max because his mama named him HBO Max. I'm calling him HBO Max.
Well, with that, they dropped a bunch of fucking teasers, announcements and teasers. So I watched them all. All the ones I was interested in. The Penguin. I thought it was just an announcement, because they post announcements are like teasers, which they're very brief. It's a title treatment with a logo. This was actually like a full teaser trailer. I was like, oh, you guys have enough footage in the can to clip together a teaser trailer.
And yeah, I knew it was going to be good, but from what we saw from this little announcement video, this fucking looks amazing.
Jeff and I joked in the first episode that they should start doing different genres with Batman's villains because Joker was a combination of King of Comedy, Taxi Driver. I joked that Penguin should be Goodfellas, and they fucking did it. It's a gangster show set in the world of the Batman. Like it has the aesthetic of the Batman, but it really is a fucking this could be called anything. Like you could swap out Penguin with the character's name could be like Max Render or some shit like that, and it still work. Just like Joker. Joker works because even though it's derivative of shit we've seen before, you could swap out Joker and just call the movie failed comedian or comedian goes mad, and it still works.
Right. Clown face Steve,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So The fact that they're really gonna start playing with genres with Batman's villains, I was just like, all right, let's do more of that. Like, let's get Poison Ivy as an eco terrorist.
I'd love a crossover with Lex Luthor, and they make it like Wall Street.
Yeah, you know what? And actually, damn, that was the perfect team up. Do Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy as eco terrorists.
Boom, there you go.
Like, Joel Schumacher fucking dropped the ball there. They should have been eco terrorists. The next teaser I want to talk about is Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai. This is a kids show, which I'm surprised about because the Gremlins 1 and 2 is not for kids. Gremlins 2 more kid friendly than Gremlins 1, but like, this is a kids show. It looks cool. The animation's cool. I really don't have anything much to say.
It looks fine. Yeah.
The Sympathizer, which is Park Chan-wook's new 6-part miniseries produced and starring Robert Downey Jr. He's wearing the 2 hats in this. And in addition to starring in this, he's playing like 6 different roles. This fucking shit looks insane. It's basically we co-opt Korea into the Cold War. That's basically what this shit is.
Yeah. Look, anything at this point that's going to be on HBO, I'm in it. I'm locked in.
The Regime looks good, which stars Kate Winslet. So Kate Winslet doing another prestige miniseries. The other one I want to talk about before we move on is the Harry Potter series. I think this is a bad idea just because the movie's literally just wrapped up. They still haven't finished their spin-off series, which probably won't be finished, but like, it feels too soon. Like, those movies are still fresh in people's minds, and then not only are you greenlighting this now, but you're greenlighting it when there's a writer's strike looming. You have no writers and no cast, so you greenlit this shit with no plan in play.
Yeah, and we talked about this, and the perfect way, if you want to try to do a soft reboot of this series, is do ancillary characters, like characters that aren't the main cast. Have the show be about them and how the effects of whatever Harry's doing affects them. That's the only way to make it interesting. I don't want to see Harry Potter go through that shit again.
Or just make Fantastic Beasts about new whimsical adventures. Like, I would like to see one of those Fantastic Beasts movie with him actually like going around the world catching Fantastic Beasts in like an Indiana Jones type adventure, you know?
Right. But it smells of desperation that they're trying to do a TV series based on the movie series that just wrapped up. What was it, like 8 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. And it took over a decade for this whole series in full to play out on screen. So, I mean, it's not like we've missed it. It's not like Lord of the Rings where it was 3 movies and then that was it.
It smells of desperation, but also like they know it's a cash grab because they know the fan base is so entrenched. You know?
And the reason why we're getting this show instead of something else is because the only other option they wanted to execute was The Cursed Child, which is the play, which takes place after the last book. And everybody said yes to coming back except for Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe's like, nah. I'm done with Harry Potter. And I'm like, yo, I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him because he's going to be fought. That's going to overshadow his career for the rest of his life. So, I mean, I don't blame him.
I get it.
I really don't. And then the final thing I want to talk about that they put out was True Detective Night Country, a full trailer for this shit. And it looks like it's going to be tying back into the first season because the Carcosa spiral's back.
Right.
It looks like it has the tone of the first season, taking place over in a frozen Alaska. Look, I think this show is what is needed, honestly.
Yeah.
To be revitalized.
If they can do it right, and if I don't know, is Nick Pozolito anywhere near this beyond like?
So he got fired because
Right.
they hired him to do season 4. He got fired.
Oh, really?
He had a bunch of shows in development. They got scrapped. He went over to FX and had a bunch of shows in development at FX. And then FX is like, nah, get the fuck out of here. So now, just, what was it, Friday? Just Friday afternoon.
Yeah, I saw the tweet.
He got hired to do a last minute rewrite for Blade. And Blades is starting to shoot in 2 weeks. So I don't know. Look.
Marvel. As Marvel.
Because they just hired another script writer to work on the script for Fantastic Four. And I'm like, guys, these movies are getting ready to roll in less than a month. And you're still trying to tell me you're doing writes and rewrites on these scripts?
And Nick Pozolito? Really?
Yeah. For
Blade?
For Marvel?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. They work, like, Mahershala loved working with him on True Detective. Well, True Detective and Blade are two different things.
Yeah, it's apples and oranges, and then like I don't know what his pitch was or how he got, like, how did he get fucking attached? Because that just seems out of nowhere.
Yeah, I look, the reason, and we'll get into it in the main review, but the reason why Guardians is good is because all that shit was like said and done, like it had a normal movie production timeline. Pre-production, production, post, finish. These Marvel movies, they're now combining production and pre-production at the same fucking time. Even like 2 weeks before finished shooting. Like Multiverse of Madness, they did a whole script rewrite and then went back and shot like a whole month's worth of shit.
Right. And
you could tell.
Like you said, we'll get into our main review, but when it comes to Marvel, I'm done. I'm like,
oh yeah, I said this after we saw it. I was just like, the proof's in the pudding. Let's just say that, and I'll get into it more why the proof's in the pudding. But I mean, like, y'all got an uphill battle from here on out. So good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I'll fuck with the TV shows, but like, I'm not getting excited for any of these movies.
Right, because I went to go see. I saw Guardians twice, and before my second screening, they played the trailer for the Marvels, and I was just like, "Oh man, we are back to dumb shit." We are just, because if they had showed that trailer before the first time I saw it, I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd be like, "All right, whatever, synergy." But having seen the movie already, and then seeing that movie on an IMAX screen, I was just like, yeah, we just back to this dumb shit. No offense to any of those characters, but watching that trailer, it's kind of night and day. But
maybe
HBO Max.
Maybe they'll surprise us.
What?
I said maybe they'll surprise us, but like, I'm not.
Well, we'll get into
invested.
it in our next segment because I'm going to do something out of spite when it opens.
Okay.
Yeah, so one last thing before we move on, they dropped a teaser for Just Like That, which will be hitting HBO Max on in June. And that trailer, I was just like, ooh boy, this looks like more of the same dog shit that they've had in the first season. But then they get you at the end of the trailer because Aiden's back. I was like, damn, he waited for Mr. Big to die to be like, Carrie, remember in the second movie how we almost fucked while you were married to Big? Well, Big's dead now. We could fuck now.
Yeah, I couldn't get past the 4th episode of Just Like That. So, I mean, that's going to be on. That's going to be on. I'm
not watching that shit.
All right, then fuck it. Yeah.
When Aiden pops up, I'll read the recaps.
Yeah. Twitter will tell me everything I need to know.
The Sex in the City to me was done after the 5th season, maybe the movie, because the movie was the first movie. Even though the fans love it, I was like, that was the first early warning sign that we're on shaky ground.
And honestly, it was a product of its time. You know?
Yeah.
And like they tried to update it, but it just seems like old people trying.
All right. Jeff, how was CinemaCon?
What was that?
How was CinemaCon?
I don't know.
Oh shit.
It looked like it was a great time.
All right, well, let's fucking get into it. There's mad shit. Let's start with the first day. The first day, I'm pretty sure it was Warner Brothers, and the first day was man, I'm sorry. There's so much shit I'm trying to organize here.
Right.
Because for those of you who don't know, CinemaCon is 4 days long. And so it runs Monday through Thursday. And a lot of people missed the last panel. Lionsgate got to stop doing this to themselves. They're always the last one, and people are always leaving early so they could catch whatever big Marvel movie screening. Either Marvel or whatever screening, they're like, yo, we got to go get this movie. Like, people were literally, after the Paramount panel, people literally ran to the airport, got on their planes, and then went right to whatever screening they were going for Guardians. Like, they gotta stop doing that shit. So, Sony's the one that started it. It opens with a video from Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. They are 4 weeks into shooting Bad Boys 4. I didn't even know it was rolling.
I just thought it was in the script stages. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was announced. I thought that shit was still in pre-production. Like, I thought that was 2 or 3 years away. They are shooting and it's going to be out next year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, wow, the turnaround is insane on this.
Well, I hope they don't compromise, quality just to stay on some kind of fucking track to make money or whatever like that. Because Bad Boys is close to my heart. It's still one of the greatest action franchises that we have going.
I hope it's good. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. Because Adil and Bilal, they're owed a win after Batgirl.
Yeah.
Like, they even said, like, yo, they met with James Gunn and they want to work in James Gunn's MCU. And James Gunn said, like, yo, listen, no matter what, if this happens again, your movie's going to be released somewhere. Like, that shit ain't happening again.
Right.
So after that, Sony showed Dumb Money, which is a comedy about the GameStop stock.
Like GameStop, like whatever the...
Yeah, where they juked the stocks and all the nerds got rich. Now it's a comedy.
Right.
They showed the trailer and they showed the opening scene. Movie has Paul Dano, Seth Rogen, Pete Davidson, Sebastian Stan, Shailene Woodley, Nick Offerman, Dane DeHaan, Anthony Ramos, America Ferrera, and Vincent D'Onofrio. That is a stacked ass cast.
Right. So whether the movie is going to be good or not, but they're hedging their bets by putting recognizable faces and likable names in there.
They said it's funny. Let's see I hope the whole movie's funny.
Right.
They showed the first 20 minutes of the Spider-Verse, and they said it is basically Loki. It's basically Loki as Spider-Man, and I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
they said this movie is really going to put Miles through the ringer, and then obviously it's ends on a cliffhanger because the next one comes out next year, Beyond the Spider-Verse.
All right. I mean, look, I don't have to see anything else about this movie. The ticket has been sold because I'm such a big fan of the first one.
Next, they said they're still pushing animation forward, like it's the same but different.
All right.
They showed the trailer for Kraven the Hunter. I forgot about this. Honestly,
I forgot about that movie existed. Yeah.
The dude who wrote and directed it is one of my favorite directors. That's J.C. Chandor. So he did Margin Call, which is like a minor classic to me.
Right.
A Most Violent Year, which is an amazing movie.
I love that fucking movie.
What was that fucking movie he did for Netflix? That was like super expensive. That shit was OD expensive. Triple Frontier.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he did Triple Frontier.
Okay.
And so he's doing Kraven the Hunter. This is Sony's first R-rated Marvel movie. They say it's hard R. They said the trailer is gruesome, like Kraven's just biting people's noses off. People are getting their arms broken. Motherfuckers are having their organs ripped out. Stars Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven. Russell Crowe's in it. And Ariana DeBose. Comes out October 5th.
Sure. Okay.
I laughed at this because this shit, I saw this. I could not stop laughing. The villain of the movie is the Rhino.
The Rhino. Like, is it going to? Are they going to keep the same cat? Who's playing the Rhino?
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know anything. I'm only going off of what I've read, bro.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Look, I laughed for 15 minutes because I was just like, so you're having a dude who's mercifully going around murdering people be the hero of this movie, and then you're gonna throw in not somebody from Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery who's a little more grounded, but you're gonna go with somebody in a more fantastical realm for Kraven the Hunter. None of this makes sense, to be honest with you. None of this, but sure.
Well, you take a B-list character and you pit them up against a C-list character.
Nah, I would say Rhino's B plus. Everybody knows who Rhino is.
I'm just saying, like, if you're trying to build, you know what? I'm not even going to get into it. But like, you would want someone who's a little bit more recognizable, a little bit more of a minute, like, has menace to them, and that can connect to whatever you're trying to fucking do in this Spider-Verse.
My question is, who the fuck is the Spider-Man in the world of this Spider-Verse? This Spider-Verse that Sony's building? Who's the Spider-Man in this one? Because they say Spider-Man exists in the Morbius universe with Venom and now Kraven the Hunter. And I'm just like, okay, so who's Spider-Man in this? Like, y'all should have pulled Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield out your ass a while ago. Just on hopes and prayers at this point.
Jesus.
I don't know what to say about this shit. I don't know what you want me to say.
I don't want you to say anything, man. Like, because I still, like, up until you said they showed a trailer, I had forgotten about it. But before I had forgotten about it, I thought it was a joke.
Yo, look. I'm gonna be real. If I went to the Sony offices and they sat me down and was like, "Yo, we want you to make a Kraven the Hunter movie," I would be like, "Yo, where's the cameras?" Because I think I'd be on a prank show. I'd be like, "Where's the cameras? Where's the cameras?" And then my second question would be like, "How would this work as a movie? How would this work as a movie?" Because Venom doesn't really work as movies. Those don't work.
I mean, they work as great comedy, but
not in the traditional comedy sense.
Right. Where's Bad Bunny in all this, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. El Muerto drops in January.
Okay, cool.
So at least we know Kraven the Hunter will be better than El Muerto.
Yo, wait. What if El Muerto is better than Kraven the Hunter?
That would make me disappointed because I like JC Chandor a lot. He's made great movies. Do I think this movie's going to be good? No. Like, I just feel like my man was like, fuck it. I need a paycheck. I need the exposure.
Right.
I have no faith in this shit being good, but there's no way El Muerto is going to be better. A dude who was in 3 comics. Are you fucking serious?
Oh shit!
They have at least Kraven the Hunter. You have years to mine. He has one of the best storylines in Spider-Man lore. Like,
right?
What are you gonna pull from El Muerto?
I have no idea.
Exactly. All right. They showed a behind the scenes reel of the new Ghostbusters movie. It's going to be directed by Gil Keenan because Jason Reitman at the last minute was like, I don't feel like directing this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's going to stay on as producer. The more I hear about Jason Reitman, the more I'm just like, you are an entitled child. I was like, your father, he is what Max Landis is, except with a bit more talent.
Right. I don't know anything about Jason Reitman's personality or history or whatever like that, but like besides Up in the Air, like, and I like Juno. All right, but
I will say Young Adult is decent. Young Adult's decent,
and I'll argue the scripts are what make those movies. Right. I don't know.
Diablo Cody's a good writer,
right? Like, I don't know about the direction. Yeah,
I've not seen anything from him that would make me leap up and say, like, yeah, this guy has it. Not even Up in the Air, because like all of his movies seem like anybody could have made those.
Right, and like the last, Ghostbusters Afterlife, you're excited because he's taking up the reins from his father. Right. That's what that was exciting. That was exciting because he grew up with Ghostbusters. Yeah, legacy.
Right, legacy. It's family legacy. They're keeping it in the family. And his dad's still alive. Ivan's still alive, probably like daunted him in it and like held his hand there. And as you watch the movie, you're just like, sure. I was like, sure.
Yeah, but
I don't know, man. All we know is that the cast from the previous movie is going to be in this one. It takes place entirely in New York City. So Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd are Ghostbusters alongside the kids. And I was like, well, that's fucking awful. They're awful adults.
Okay. All right.
Should not have kids being Ghostbusters. Supposedly dropping at Christmas. And I was just like, y'all just started shooting in February, though.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, are y'all not sure next Christmas?
Yeah, because like if they only started shooting in February, they want are they doing like Marvel type post where they just don't give a fuck? They're just throwing stuff. Yo,
you know what, man?
You Sony, huh? Sony. Okay. All right.
So Gran Turismo, they showed the first trailer. It drops in August 11th. They say it looks really fucking good. The trailer that they showed at CinemaCon last week will be dropping later this week. So the next regular episode, we'll be talking about that trailer. And like I said, I saw the first look. It was hot. Right, I was just like, all right, this movie looks hot. Like,
okay.
The Equalizer 3, which we'll talk about during trailer talk. They screened the first 10 minutes from Ridley Scott's Napoleon. Joaquin Phoenix stars as Napoleon. They showed a scene where there was a massive battle sequence where Napoleon surprises an attacking army during winter. It looks insane. It looks big. It looks expensive. I was like, well, shout out to Ridley for getting it greenlit because Kubrick spent his whole life. This was his Moby Dick. Kubrick spent his whole life trying to get this shit made and never could get it made.
Well, we know Ridley Scott can do epic. He can do those period pieces. He can do those battles. So I would expect nothing less than a spectacle. Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Ridley Scott. He back on his epic shit because The Last Duel just came out. He's doing this. This is I didn't even realize he was shooting this quick. I remember when it was first announced. Like, it's not from Stanley Kubrick's script. Like, Stanley Kubrick's script is apparently still in the works at Warner Brothers. Like, they have that script. They own that script.
All right.
And it's just about finding the right person to get it to screen. Like they said, before hell freezes over, that movie will be made.
All right. Well,
with that said, though, it's wild to me. My man's is back. Now he's doing Gladiator. Connie Nielsen's back. They announced today Connie Nielsen's back.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I was like, so this script must be good if she's back.
All right. I mean, look, I went from thinking Gladiator 2 was a bad idea to being cautiously optimistic, at least by the talent.
I kind of wish they did Nick Cave's Gladiator 2 script, because that shit is insane. I could imagine. I would love to smell the disappointment in the air. Just sit there and watch people's reactions.
Shit.
Ooh, excuse me. All right. So that was the end of Sony's presentation. They ended on Napoleon, which got everybody's dick hard. And I was like, yeah, you saved the best for the end.
Right.
Warner Brothers, they started off their presentation the next day. They started off with like a quick clips reel. And in that quick clips reel, they showed a little bit of Furiosa. And they said Anya Taylor-Joy looks exactly like Charlize Theron.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah, they say, and the brief snippets of action, they're like, oh, George Miller's back on his bullshit.
All right. Oh, yes.
So the first thing they showed at CinemaCon, Denny came out with Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya, and they did a whole presentation for Dune Part 2. So they talked about the movie. Before they showed the trailer, they were like, Denny said, right now, after I talk to you guys and show this trailer, I'm on my first flight back to LA because I'm in a rush to get this movie finished.
Right.
He's like, there's still so much I got to finish before. He's like, he wants the picture lock by the beginning of October. Because if you guys didn't know, they announced a couple of weeks ago while we were off air, Dune Part 2 will not be premiering at any of the film festivals like Part 1, just because the time crunch on this one is much greater.
Okay. That's fine.
I mean, they already established. They said the only festival it could possibly make is New York Film Festival, which it played at. The first one played at New York Film Festival anyway.
All right. Well,
Denny said, the first movie is more my style, which is more contemplative. It's like I'm setting up the table. So that way in Part 2, I want you guys to sit back, relax, have fun, and just eat up like a feast.
Okay.
Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet said that they had to really work with Denny on making their love story relatable for the audience, just because if you've seen the first movie, there's a lot of sci-fi terminology, and it's hard to do that when you're making a love story. It's easy for the first movie because the first movie is about a family, and when the second movie is about a love story and two people falling in love, it's hard to throw all that shit out. So Denny said the entire movie is shot in IMAX because the first movie was only like a little over an hour. And if you saw it in IMAX, you know how transcendent an experience that was, and just how I was just like, damn, this is like watching Lord of the Rings or Lawrence of Arabia for like the first time. So the whole movie in IMAX, I was just like, I didn't think I could get more excited for this movie, and I did. So they showed the trailer, and even people who hated the first movie were like, yeah, holy shit. They said somehow Denny doubled down on the scale of the movie. It's somehow bigger than the first movie. And the first movie is one of the most massively scaled movies I've ever seen. Like, if you've seen the first Dune, you understand how fucking big that shit is. And the fact that this movie goes bigger. And they said the trailer for this one was relentless. You see Austin Butler's character in the movie. He is a Harkonnen, and they say he looks like a serial killer.
Because he's doing the Bowie role, right?
Sting.
Sting.
Yeah, he's doing that role. And the whole movie, there's tension in House Harkonnen because now it's becoming down. I forget what the dude's name is, the head Harkonnen.
I thought it was just Baron.
All right. So the Baron is dying because of the poison attack in the first movie. And he understands. He's like, he's trying to expand and take over the universe under the Emperor's nose because the Emperor's a fucking idiot and backed him because he was feeling some type of way that Atreides was, gaining influence in the galaxy and favor. People were looking up to them instead of him. So he's trying to slyly take over the galaxy, and he realizes he's dying. He has to leave this vast empire to one or two people. That is Rabba Harkonnen, who was in the first movie, played by what's my man's name? Dave Bautista.
Right.
And then this guy, the new guy. I don't know what his name is, but he's the new Harkonnen, played by Austin Butler. And it looks like he's leaning towards Austin Butler's character, because not only is he as ruthless, and not only ruthless, but a little more crazier than Rabba, but he's more smart and cunning than Rabba.
His name is Fayed Rothua.
Okay, so Fayed. Yeah. They said this movie, the action sequences are insane. You get to see in the trailer that's going to be dropping supposedly before Guardians. You get to see Timmy ride a sandworm, and they say that shit is insane.
I cannot wait for this fucking movie.
They say it looks, and they say it's what Denny described, which is an action-packed, relentless war movie with a love story at the center.
I'm here for it, 100%.
And there's a moral choice that the movie centered on, which is Paul has to make a choice. Does he fight for love, which is Chani and his family, or does he fight for revenge?
All right. Well,
so after that, they moved to DC, and DC, David Zaslav came out, and he was just like, yeah, look, Warner Brothers, we're not in the Max business. We're in the theatrical business. All that shit of putting stuff on HBO Max so fast, that's going to stop. He's like, the stuff that's going to hit HBO Max fast is depending on how well it does in theaters. So like if a movie does like Shazam, it'll be on HBO Max a little quicker.
Right.
But if something is successful, they are not going to cut the legs off and throw it straight to streaming. And I'm just like, Universal needs to take note of that, because Universal cuts the legs off their own movies and throws it up on Peacock so quickly.
Right. And that's how it used to be. You know, like you wouldn't see a movie hit video, DVD, or streaming for like months, if not a year, past when it came out of the theaters.
I mean, we'll get to Disney in a second, but there's some stuff in Disney where I'm just like, well, yeah. So he came out and he's like, yo, listen, I've seen a rough cut of Dune Part 2, and he's just like, I'm a fan of the first movie. The second one's better. I promise you it's better. He's like, The Flash. He's like, before we show you the movie, I'm going to show you a quick sizzle reel so we could do the DC and highlight other DC stuff. He's like, I've seen The Flash 4 times and I love it. And he's like, I can't wait to see the finished product, because The Flash is not finished. From the screenings that they did that day, they said there's still some effects works that needs to be done. Otherwise, the sound mix is done, the color timing's done, the score's done. Like everything's done except for effects. They got like 30% left to do.
Fine. Take as long as you need to do it. Don't do it like Marvel. Like
we'll get back to The Flash, because that's what they ended their presentation on. James Gunn and Peter Safran came out and they talked about DC, and they're just happy to be building something that they think will appeal to everybody. So if one movie doesn't work for you, maybe something else will, because it's not going to be what they said. How they're going to differ from Marvel is each film will have its own different tone. So like Batman's going to be dark. Superman's going to be like a family movie. Creature Commandos is going to be more for adults. Waller's more of an espionage show.
Huh. Interesting. Like the comic books that they're based on.
Just like in movies in general, how they're all fucking different.
Yeah, he gets it. Like, we'll talk about this later on in our main review. He gets it.
He straight up said that is how you battle superhero fatigue. They showed a little bit of the color purple. They say it looks amazing. They said the songs are actually catchy, and they said this is not the same Color Purple that was based. It's all the same story, but it's not the same.
Right.
Like there's certain stuff in the original Color Purple that won't make it over here. And I was like, okay, so I'm hoping it's all the rape and incest. Because they're trying to make this into like a family-friendly 4-quadrant blockbuster musical. It's coming out at Christmas.
Okay. I mean,
and everybody says, they're like, well, look, it this looks like WB's trying to not only make money but get them awards.
Yeah. Well, they gotta try something because what they've been doing is failing miserably.
Margot, Greta, Ryan, and America Ferrera came out and presented some sizzle reel for Barbie. They talked about the movie, and everybody says it looks pretty fucking funny.
Okay.
Timothée Chalamet came back out, and he ended the panel. Well, excuse me. Before we get to that, they showed the trailer for the Meg 2, The Trench, directed by Ben Wheatley, which is insane. Ben Wheatley.
When you told me this, I was like, I thought you were joking.
This dude, I would never expect him to do a studio movie because I know he was attached to Tomb Raider for the longest time. And I'm like, what? Why the fuck is he doing Tomb Raider? Now he's doing the Meg 2. And they say the trailer starts off with one of the Megs eating a dinosaur in prehistoric times. And because it's called The Trench, they unlock something from one of the trenches. So now there's 2 more Megs. So there's 3 Megs. There's 3 Megs. It comes out this August, and the trailer will be dropping soon. They say it looks insane. I'm like, damn, Jason Statham has his own fucking franchise that's more Fast and Furious than Fast and Furious. And I cannot wait for it. How'd they get Ben Wheatley is what I want to know. How and why?
Like, what was his like... I got so many questions. Did they approach him? Or was he like, hey... I have an idea for the Meg Part 2. Go with me on this. Like,
there's like 4 or 5 books in the series too. So if this one does good, like, yo, y'all we're gonna get all these books into movies.
What was the last thing Ben Wheatley did? Wasn't it like High Rise?
In the Earth.
In the Earth. Okay.
Which I'm going to watch tonight. People saying the Meg 2 is amazing. They showed the trailer for the Nun 2.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about it other than they showed it, which tells me all I need to know. Because the first one, I was just like, sure.
Yeah, all right, cool.
I was like, it was just jump scares. And then they ended on Wonka, and they say Wonka is from Paul King. Paul King is the writer and director of Paddington 1 and 2. And they said this looks just as good, if not better, than those Paddington movies. I was like, damn. Now I see why Paul King was like, yo, listen, I'm not doing Paddington 3.
Right.
I'll do Wonka. It's an origin story. It's a musical that you get a hint of the songs in this trailer, but they said the very end brought down the house, which was Hugh Grant as a Oompa Loompa. They said that shit brought down the house.
Okay. Yo, I love how Hugh Grant's having a resurgence.
And he's doing movies that I was like, he wouldn't be caught dead like 20 years ago doing at his height. He'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Now he's just having fun. So, yeah, that was the Warner Brothers panel. And then after Warner Brothers panels, they're like, all right, wait, they did show the Blue Beetle trailer during the DC.
Right.
It was an extended trailer, and they say the action looks incredible.
All right.
And it looks bigger than what the first trailer was.
Like I said before, like I kind of fucked with the Blue Beetle trailer, and it just looked like what I wanted from Shazam, you know?
I forgot to talk about this during the DC presentation. Aquaman, they dropped the trailer for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. They said it looks much, much bigger than the first movie. It's basically about what's my man's name? Black Manta. He gets a black trident, and he gets like uber strong. So Aquaman must team up with Orm, which was his brother. And as if you don't remember from the movie, you can call me Ocean Master. They always had that dramatic pause whenever he said that 10 times in the movie. You can call me, dramatic pause, Ocean Master. And there was always that music that went dun dun dun. I was like, goddamn 80 music, 80 cheesy music shit. You can call, I'm not Orm, I'm Ocean Master. Dun dun dun.
Here's the thing. Aquaman, like no one's said shit about this movie for like the last 6 months, right? I don't know if I can get excited for it or not, like.
Let me see a trailer. I think it sounds a little stupid that they're bringing Orm back.
Right.
Like, just keep him in prison. Like, look, I get it. Black Manta's a powerful villain, but I'd rather see him fight him one-on-one than some fucking some midnight run fucking dumb shit. Or, this is more 48 hours. I don't want to see no 48 hours under the sea. I'm sorry.
But I would like to see a 48 hours remake with superheroes, though. That might be cool.
Not with Aquaman.
Oh, not with Aquaman, but like just the concept.
Coming out. This is also coming out at Christmas. Warner Brothers seems to want to not make money because they're putting 3 movies out at the same fucking time. I think that's stupid, to be honest with you.
Wait, so they're putting Aquaman out in December?
So it's going to be Aquaman, Color Purple, and Wonka all drop within a week of each other.
That's stupid. Right? Like Color Purple and Wonka, perfect for December. You're gonna
because
eat everything up.
They're both musicals. They're both geared towards families, and both could bring in. Honestly, they could feed into each other because if they're both good, then the family's gonna come out and be like, "Yo, let's go see the other musical, the other family-friendly musical." That's stupid.
Yeah.
That's just fucking stupid on every level. I'm sorry. That is a block. Like Aquaman is a blockbuster movie. It's a summer movie, right? It like the first Aquaman came out at Christmas too and made $1 billion, right? That's fine. My thing is you cannot. If these were 3 different studios, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. That shit happens. The same studio's putting out 3 big movies, and they're all kind of going after the same audience. That makes no sense.
I guess they figure like if they flood the marketplace with their product, then no one else is going to see it, like have room. I guess that's the theory. I don't know. Fuck it. It's
real stupid. So they right after that they told everybody if you want to see the Flash, you got to go outside and get in line. Everybody ran out, got in line, and then they let them back in instead of just everybody's already settled in their seats and just be like, all right, here's the movie. They went. Right. I was like, well, that made no sense, but whatever. They showed the movie. Everybody basically has been parroting what people have already been saying. Like it's good.
Right.
Like I don't know what else to say at this point other than it's good.
So, yeah, look, from the trailer alone, it had me sold. And then like you got Tom Cruise saying that he loved it. You got fucking James Gunn saying it's the best superhero movie he's ever seen. Like, yeah. I'm
gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real. If the Flash is as good as they say it is, that means that's coming out 2 weeks after Spider-Verse, and Spider-Verse we already know is gonna be good.
Right.
So like, I don't need any more superhero movies because like now, like Blue Beetle, fine, right?
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'll wait and see with Blue Beetle. But now I'm looking at the Marvels. I'm looking at Kraven the Hunter. I'm looking at Aquaman. I'm like,
you can't compete. Like
yeah.
you
What? Why bother? Why bother? Like, honestly. Anyways, let's get to Disney. Disney did their CinemaCon presentation. They started off with Marvel, and the only thing they showed was a clip for Volume 3. And I'm like, why not just show the movie? But whatever.
All right. Yeah.
They only showed a clip for Volume 3 and then the trailer that was already put out for the Marvels. Nothing else. No preview for Captain America. No like concept reel for any of the other shit they have on deck. It was just that.
Okay. All right. So
not a lot of faith.
Right,
not a lot of faith. And remember, guys, CinemaCon is for people in the exhibition industry. So like projectionists, people who run theaters, like every single like IMAX, Dolby, everybody that has to do with theatrical, whether you own a mom and pop's chain or a big AMC chain, they were there, including journalists and film critics. So like, if I'm trying to sell, look, if I'm trying to
reassure like
people that, hey, listen, Marvel, the golden goose is still gonna be that golden goose. I would have done more. All right. So then after that, they showed the first 20 minutes of Elemental in 3D. They said the 3D is Avatar level 3D, and the animation is gorgeous, and it feels like old Pixar.
Okay. All right.
The next thing they showed was Next Goal Wins, which we'll get into in trailer talk. Then they showed the trailer for Gareth Edwards' new movie, which these two movies are coming out under the 20th Century banner because these can't come out under Disney.
Right.
So 20th Century Studios, they showed the trailer for The Creator, which is Gareth Edwards' new movie. Gareth Edwards did Godzilla, Monsters, Rogue One. They say The Creator looks insane. I remember when this was first announced as True Love, and they said it was an epic sci-fi movie starring John David Washington and Gemma Chan. And I was like, oh, I'm really excited to see that because Greg Fraser's the DP. I was like, I'm really excited to see what this is because they say the script is amazing. They say the trailer is crazy. It is a giant sci-fi epic. They said it blew everybody in that auditorium away. Comes out September 29th.
All right, so hopefully we'll be getting that trailer soon.
Then they showed a big action-packed chase from Indiana Jones, and depending on who you ask, people were either really excited by it or just like, it's fine.
I mean, I think nostalgia is going to carry this movie a long way. You know, just like when we got The Force Awakens, you know, people instantly loved it because it was Star Wars, and it wasn't the prequel trilogy, right? I think it's going to be the same thing with this new Indiana Jones film. Like, you're going to love it the first time you see it, but on repeat viewings, it's like,
From the people who said, oh, this looks fine, they said they probably, if they wanted people to be very excited, they should have showed the whole movie. And they said they don't know if it's a good thing or if it's a bad thing that they didn't really show anything outside of this 10-minute chase scene from the movie.
Right.
Because they showed the first 20 minutes of this new Pixar movie. I mean,
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
After that, they closed out their CinemaCon presentation with another 3D presentation. It was Ursula. Melissa McCarthy, as you guys know, is playing Ursula the Sea Witch in The Little Mermaid, which is coming out in 3 weeks. Holy shit, that is approaching quick.
Right.
They showed a whole sequence of her singing one of the songs called Poor Unfortunate Souls, and it won the whole room over. They're like, holy shit. And I was just like,
okay.
All right. Look, I'll say this. I would rather sit through a good movie than a bad movie. I want everything to be good. Because there's nothing worse than me sitting through a movie and I was like, that's a waste of fucking time.
Right.
I understand why this is made. They're going to make their money because that's why it was made. But mean, surprise me. At least try to do something.
I've got no expectations for this movie.
Right.
Like,
I don't
good
either
or-
because it's
good or
not
bad.
for me.
Right.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
And all I can hope for is that it's good.
Yeah.
So the people who are going to see it, I'm going to be like, yeah, go see it. It's good.
Right.
Hopefully hopefully the screening's in 3D, since they said this 3D is insane and it's formatted for IMAX because they showed them the footage on IMAX.
Okay. All right. Look, I mean, the trailer looked beautiful. It's the Little Mermaid, and like, what do we want to say? Yeah.
Shout out to Disney for going all in on IMAX, though.
I mean, we were talking about this the other day. They need a reason to upcharge people.
I mean, yo, if you want a cinematic experience, I mean, it is IMAX.
Right.
I mean, so after that, it was Universal. Universal started their presentation, and they had their brand new bottom bitch, because WB lost their bottom bitch. Fucking Nolan walked on stage. They said almost like his dick was swinging side to side. He was so confident in his walk up on stage. They said niggas stood up and applauded. Just him walking up on stage, and he's just like, yeah, so I'm here to show you a little bit of Oppenheimer. He's like, look, I'm not the important people in the room right now. You guys are. I make this for you guys because you guys are what keeps magic alive. The magic isn't what I do. The magic is what you guys do, which is proper projection, proper sound, proper masking on a huge ass screen that you cannot replicate at home. That's why I do what I do. And he's just like, I've made another movie for you guys that can't be replicated at home, and I'll show you why in a little bit. He got into his whole presentation. He was just like, I made this movie because for better and for worse, Oppenheimer was the most important man who ever lived. Like he changed the game for better and for worse.
Okay.
He's like, you're going to watch this movie, and there's going to be stuff about him you like, and there's going to be stuff about him you absolutely hate. He's a complicated human being. And I think this movie's important. I think it's a summer blockbuster that's going to work for across all demographics. And he's just like, all right, play it. They showed them 10 minutes. It was like 10 minutes from two different scenes. Mm-hmm. And they said once those 10 minutes were done, the motherfuckers jumped up to their feet and started clapping. Everybody started tweeting out there like, this is going to be a blockbuster. This is going to hit. This is going to make money. Mad people were saying, Nolan may be getting his first Oscar. He may be getting his first Oscar.
All right.
This may be making money. People, the one thing they said besides it being a blockbuster making money in Oscars is that it is the most intense thing they've ever sat through in a theater. They thought one dude was like, I thought the dude there's an older gentleman sitting next to me, and I thought he was going to have a heart attack.
I don't
Should
mean
I
to
describe the footage or save that?
Save that, man. Like, just
because I told you, right? I told you the footage.
Yeah, you told me the footage. We're gonna see footage from this soon enough. Like the world.
No, before Nolan walked off stage and did his big dick walk off stage, he's like, new trailer in front of Guardians of the Galaxy later.
All right.
And I guarantee you probably said, keep this off record, but y'all niggas better play this in front of every movie before this shit comes out.
Oh shit.
So after that, Universal, what a shift in tone. They brought Will Ferrell out on stage.
Okay.
With a bunch of dogs to do a presentation for Strays.
Yeah, I think they got the order mixed up, like, because you can't, like, how are you going to follow Oppenheimer with a talking dog movie?
Yeah, people were like, it looks funny. Like people were like, all right, it looks funny. That's all they said. Funny. They're like, it looks funny.
Yeah, the trailer looks funny. Like, fucking talking dogs. You can't go wrong.
Then they brought Jason Blum and David Gordon Green out for a movie called Exorcist the Believer. Apparently, after making the first Halloween, while he was working on the sequels, David Gordon Green got an idea for how to do The Exorcist and pitched it to Jason Blum, and Jason Blum was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll greenlight it. Let me get the rights." He got the rights. He's like, "It's all yours." Ellen Burstyn's back. What's her face? Who
Linda
played
Blair?
Reagan? Linda Blair's back. Yeah. I forget who the man. It's a black man taking care of two girls. So it's his daughter and his daughter's friend. These two girls are possessed. So that's the movie. It's two possessions.
Okay. Look, after Halloween ends, I don't know if I want to see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll say this. I'll wait and see. All right. Because the first Halloween, I was like, this is hard. And that's it for me. There's only three Halloweens. The OG, Halloween 3, and David Gordon Green's Halloween. Like that, those are mine.
And that's fair.
Right?
That's fair.
That's my trilogy. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because maybe this one will be good and the sequels may be shit. Because this is they reiterated multiple times, this is the first of a trilogy. And I'm just like, how about working on one and getting the first one right before y'all start putting the cart before the horse?
I blame Star Wars for all this trilogy bullshit. Like, can we just get a movie? Can we just get one fucking movie?
Look, there's a reason why Denis didn't make 1 and 2 back to back, even though he wanted to. And honestly, it sounds like it's better for it that he didn't shoot these movies back to back.
Right.
Like, focus on making the best one you can before you start thinking about 2. Once 1 comes out and everybody loves it and it makes the money, then you'd be like, all right, let's get into 2.
And I get it from a studio like approach. Is like, yeah, you want the most bang for your buck. You want if it's a success, you want that IP to keep rolling and making money. But from a story point of view, like, can I just get a story that has a beginning, middle, and end? I don't have to worry about what's going to happen or in the second one or the third one.
Yeah. After that, they brought out Justin Timberlake, and so the trailer for that will be dropping soon, by the way.
For Exorcist Believer or whatever?
Yeah. So Justin Timberlake and Anna Kendrick came up, and they talked about Trolls band together, showed the trailer, and I was just like, all right. And then Jack Black came out and described, because the trailer's not ready, so he stood on stage and acted it out and described the trailer for Kung Fu Panda 4 coming out in March. And this is another one where I'm just like, damn, y'all, Universal's just digging up all of DreamWorks' animated franchises. Like, you're getting another Shrek, goddamn resurrecting How to Train Your Dragon, even though that had an ending, like a clear ending. They even said, like, this is the final one. And then they're like, all right, so live action remake, so we're gonna resurrect that. Damn, they Pet Cemetery all they shit. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Megamind 2 or a Shark's Tale 2.
Oh shit!
Yeah. I was like, all right, sure.
Okay.
After that, they brought out Tyrese, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, Sung Kang, and Vin to take everybody through the Fast Saga from 1 to 10. And they ended on a presentation of 10. People said 10 looks fun. It looks big. They're excited. And Vin was like, Michelle Rodriguez said, like, I want to thank you guys for believing in this franchise, because this is the first franchise to be led by people of color before it was popular. And I was like, she's right.
Right. She's not wrong.
And then Vin Diesel, before they all walked off the stage, Vin Diesel's like, after this explosive summer, this is a quote, not me making this up. So this is a quote. After this explosive summer, I will stand before you again for part 2 in 2025. Thank you for adopting us as a world saga.
Huh?
This is a two-parter.
Yeah.
Because this is the final one. So
Right,
he's
right.
saying, I'm coming back.
All right.
Because Louis Leterrier is doing the next one, too.
Okay. All right. Well,
That's another one I guess we'll be seeing soon because that drops in 2 weeks.
does it? Jesus Christ.
May 19th. It's now officially May 1st as of this recording, May 1st. So it's dropping. Yeah, it's dropping in 2 weeks.
All right. Jesus. Time is flying.
Yes. Universal. Then after that, they brought out all these stunt people doing all this crazy stunt work, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like doing all these dangerous stunts on stage. And then after that, Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt and David Leitch came out, and they're like, "Yeah, we're here to present our movie, The Fall Guy. It's about a stunt man who's pulled back in to do a movie, but this movie ends up being a heist and it gets out of hand. So like they said, there's all these massive stunts in here."
So Ryan Gosling is doing a movie based on the TV show The Fall Guy. Is that what's going on?
This is an original movie.
Yeah.
So in addition to Blunt and Gosling, it's also starring Aaron Taylor Johnson, Winston Duke, Stephanie Sue, and they said this looks like a bigger and much better Bullet Train. And I was like, okay. Let's wait and see, because I thought Bullet Train looked dope. So this one, I'm like, let's wait and see. Comes out next March. And then, as a surprise, Donna Langley, she came out. She's like, yeah, so we weren't going to do this, but I thought, why not leave you guys with a big surprise? Something to get the engine revving and get the internet talking. You guys are going to be the first people to see footage from Wicked Part 1.
Okay.
So they showed Wicked Part 1. They say it looks its budget.
What was its budget?
200.
Holy shit.
For those of you who don't know, Wicked is a musical based on The Wizard of Oz, specifically about the Wicked Witch and her good sister Glenda. Broadway musical is one of the most popular musicals behind Hamilton. Tickets are OD expensive. This is a two-parter. So you're getting part 1 next Christmas and then part 2 the following Christmas. They built massive sets for this. They say the sets are massive. They look massive. They said the songs are good and the action actually looks like it's from an action movie. I was like, okay. All right.
All right, cool.
I was like, damn, musicals having a resurgence. Let's just hope they're good, man. Because it's like, look, I don't want them to die.
I mean, musicals are never going to die, but like, it's not going to. We're getting back to how it was in like the 50s and 60s, where everything was a fucking musical, and I'm not mad at that.
The musical. Listen. When a musical is good, it's good because you're seeing magic on screen. Because the hardest thing to make, movies are hard to make as is, right? But the hardest thing to make is a musical, just because you have to sell people on the heightened world of people singing all the time.
Right.
And then to make it good, the songs have to be good.
Right. And like the choreography has to be on point. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's movies plus.
Yes. Yo, let me make a musical in IMAX, nigga.
All right, go. You have my permission. I will give you. There you go. If anyone's listening out there, Brandon wants to do a musical. What you should do something real weird too. Like
I want to do the Tupac musical.
All right, yeah, do a Tupac musical.
And remember how obsessed I am with Menace to Society?
Yeah.
I told you the reason why I'm so obsessed with it is because I'm trying to make that into a musical.
I mean, I have heard worse ideas. I have.
I'm trying to get my EGOT off of that.
Shit.
And so the next day it was CinemaCon. Everybody's buzzing. Everybody's saying Universal had the best presentation because it was well paced. They brought out their big guns and they ended on Wicked. I was like, damn, Wicked is that beloved? I was like, am I gonna have to like find a tourist and pull the zib-zab to see this play?
Yeah, I mean, theater nerds be theatering. Like when it comes to Broadway, translations from Broadway to screen, it's a blank check. You'll make so much money.
So, Paramount, they the head of Paramount came out and he was just like, yo, listen, Paramount, the reason why we're still alive is because y'all went to go see our movies in theaters. So like, Top Gun, Smile, all that made money before. And they're another one they got to stop this too, is they put stuff too fast on Paramount Plus, to be honest with you. And they killed their own legs. They got to stop doing that shit. And they understand that. They say like theatrical remains the cornerstone of our business and streaming cannot work without theatrical. Because all the shit that makes streaming work is movies that people have already seen in theaters.
Right.
Because they said, they've done a poll. They've done a national survey poll. 90% of people said they still see movies in theaters and then they'll watch the same movies on streaming because it's comfort food for them.
Yeah, and I get that. And that's how it should be.
Right. So he started off the presentation. He's like, yo, listen, we're going to show you what we have to show today, but maybe next time we'll have Smile 2 to show you. We'll have Sonic 3 to show you. We got Gladiator 2 to show you next year. He's like, I promise you next year we're going to give you guys these movies. But as of now, let's start off with some mayhem. And they had a bunch of breakdancers and skateboarders come out with a DJ for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Okay.
They showed an extended preview for it, and they say it's real fucking weird. Seth Rogen just got a blank check to do a kids movie. It's basically a Seth Rogen kids movie. So it's the first movie where you could take your kid. It's the first Seth Rogen movie you could take your kids to.
Right, but also going real fucking high.
So, excuse me. After that, Rihanna walked out on stage, super pregnant. Everybody's like, she looked glamorous. She looked like a movie star. Rihanna's like, yeah, y'all probably wondering why I'm here. I'm here to be promoting the new Smurfs movie. I'm Smurfette. I'm writing and performing new songs. And trust me, if this movie was some bullshit, I wouldn't be out here.
Okay, sure. I'm
gonna say this. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt because it can't be worse than what Sony did.
Right. So is this a reboot or is it like
it's a new studio. That was all Sony before.
I mean, I never saw those other Smurf movies because
they were horrible. Yeah, they looked horrible. They were horrible from what I've heard. Even when they decided to do an animated family movie, it was shit.
All right. Well, the Smurfs movie. All right, cool.
And then apparently after she walked off stage, guess who ran up to her for a picture?
I don't know.
Only picture he took that day because everybody else, he's like, I'm out of here after this.
I don't know who. Christopher Nolan?
Scorsese.
Oh shit!
Scorsese ran up to her, was like, "Yo, could I get a picture?" I'm like, "Damn, Scorsese a Rihanna fan too, just like the rest of us."
All right.
Yo, shout out to Scorsese. He knows good music, nigga. You got the Rolling Stones and Rihanna. After that, the dude who runs Paramount came back out. Was like, "Yeah, Paw Patrol was one of our highest grossing movies during the height of the pandemic." And that dropped the same day as that dropped in theaters and on Paramount Plus on the same day. This new one is going to drop just in theaters. And we have the biggest celebrity in the world in this. He's like Kim Kardashian and her kids. North and Saint will be the stars of this. And I was just like, all right, sure, man. Look, I ain't hate the first one because the first one they had a talking dog dealing with PTSD. I was just like that. I wasn't expecting that from a kids movie.
Right.
And you know what? If I get it, I will not go to a screening of this. But if you guys send me a screener link, I'll gladly watch it.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. Paw Patrol 2. All right, cool.
It's not, again, I ain't the target audience for this,
Right.
so I can't get mad at this. I'm like, it made money, it made kids happy, and the first one, it tried. It tried more than most recent Marvel movies, I'll tell you that much. So what does that say when a Paw Patrol movie has more pathos than a fucking $200 million blockbuster?
Right. So, I mean, all right, cool.
They showed some Transformers Rise of the Beast, a new trailer, which premiered the same day. They showed that trailer there. And then right after that, they showed a trailer for a new Transformers movie that's coming out next year called Transformers 1. It's an animated film, July 19th next year. Chris Hemsworth is Optimus Prime. Brian Tyree Henry is Megatron. Scarlett Johansson is Alita. Keegan-Michael Key is Bumblebee. John Hamm is Sentinel Prime, and Lawrence Fishburne is Alphatron. This animation looks wild. It looks weird.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. Fuck it.
And then they showed the trailer for Bob Marley, One Love. Ziggy came out. Ziggy said, I was a consultant on this movie. This movie stays true to my father and who he was. My father was a complicated man. He's like, there's stuff about him you're going to like. There's stuff about him you're not going to like. They showed the trailer. The trailer had a lot of passion, a lot of pride, a lot of amazing music, and a lot of weed. They said the trailer is amazing and is due out next year.
Okay.
And then finally, their presentation ended on two things. John Krasinski came out and showed the first trailer for A Quiet Place Day One. He's a producer on it and a consultant on it. They say it looks insane, it looks intense because it's the alien invasion set in New York City.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right.
Yeah, they say it looks fucking wild. I was like, damn, it sounds like Krasinski is about to be not direct the best one in this series, huh?
I mean, I look. I don't. Let's see some footage. Let's see what it does. But like in A Quiet Place 2, in the beginning when they showed that alien invasion, it was fucking amazing. It was terrifying. So yeah. I can't imagine that in New York City.
Yep, and that's the whole movie.
Yeah. So all right.
So then they brought out my boy Scorsese, and Scorsese is just like, yo, listen, y'all know who I am, y'all know what I do. I make movies for the big screen, your screens, all you people. I make movies for your screens, and you'll see why I made this movie for you. He said this is my 6th movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, my 10th with Robert De Niro, and it's my first time with both of my 2 stars in one movie. And he walked off stage and they showed the trailer and they're just like, holy shit. I was like, yeah, Scorsese.
Scorsese doing a Western. Scorsese doing a Western. That's all you have to say.
It is a minute or two shorter than The Irishman.
All right.
So it's not 4 hours like everybody was rumored. It's close to 3.5 because The Irishman was 3.5. So it's like a minute or two shorter than The Irishman.
That's fine.
So yeah, they're just like, so they're saying it looks like a 3-pronged Oscar race so far between Oppenheimer, this, and Dune. And I was like, oh, my 3 favorite directors gonna be like in a battle royale.
This is gonna be a good year to be a cinema lover, you know.
Yeah, they said it was a huge round of applause at the end of the trailer. People stood up and clapped. Can't wait for the trailer to drop. They said it's going to drop any day now. Okay. Any day now. Because the movie's going to have its world premiere in Cannes at the Cannes Film Festival. That's at the end of this month, I think. Yeah, it's at the end of this month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll be hearing soon. And it's playing out of competition at Con, even though the dude who runs Con wanted it in competition. But Marty says it probably won't be done when it screens at Con.
All right, so
that's why it's out of competition.
Right, a work print. Okay, still.
He said it's 90% done. He just has a few more things to do. So
you can take as much time as you want.
They ended CinemaCon on the new Mission Impossible trailer. They announced that it's coming out 2 days early, so it could have a little more time in IMAX because this whole movie is shot in IMAX. Because it's only going to play now, it'll only play a week and a half in IMAX before Oppenheimer opens.
Okay.
And of course, Oppenheimer is going to get the priority just because it's Nolan and they got the prints.
Right.
He has the IMAX film prints. So after they showed the trailer, they showed them the first 20 minutes of the movie. And the first 20 minutes is a car chase, which you see in the trailer. It's that yellow car with him and Haley Atwell are riding around in. It's a gun. There's a car chase, a gun battle, and 4 different groups of people chasing both Haley Atwell and Ethan Hunt. And it leads directly into the opening credits sequence, which they also showed in full over, the iconic music.
Right.
So, Dead Reckoning Part 1, now opening July 12th instead of July 14th. And so the last was Lionsgate, and there's not really much from this. I'm gonna be real with you. Lionsgate, they showed their presentation had all about My Father, The Blackening, White Bird, which we'll get into in trailer talk, Expendables 4, Saw 10, and the new Hunger Games. And they said
the Saw 10 coming out? What?
Yeah, October. Saw 10.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Again, what do you want me to say?
I don't want you to say anything. I'm just trying to.
Again, this presentation happened on the last day. It was the last presentation because after the Paramount presentation, everybody's like, time to go see Guardians. Like, we got to get the fuck out of Dodge and see Guardians. There's no information on the Lionsgate panel other than they showed Joyride in full. And I know, Jeff, you said you're looking forward to it. And I guess your instinct was right because people really like the movie. They showed the movie.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Expendables, all they put out was like a little title treatment with who's going to be in it. So it's going to star Jason Statham, co-star 50 Cent, Randy Couture's in it, and a bunch of other dudes. And then Stallone is at the bottom. So he's literally in it as a cameo. So it's literally Jason Statham and 50 Cent leading the Expendables.
So now Jason Statham has 2 franchises.
Yeah. But damn, Lionsgate's really digging the bottom of the barrel, man. They resurrecting Saw. Spiral just flopped. And if you cannot make a Saw movie with Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock work, you just can't make these work.
Right. I'm done with those. Like, there's so many twists and turns and convoluted backstories. Like, fucking just come up with something new.
Jigsaw's been dead since Saw 3, and yet every Saw since then, he's had 10 fucking different apprentices waiting in the wings, just waiting on standby.
Right? It's just like, it's done.
It's wild. It's wild. It is wild. I'm looking at this and I'm just like, About My Father, that looks funny, but I don't know if I'd be like showing it off. The Blackening looks fucking stupid. Joyride, people loved. White Bird, which is they're billing it as a Wonder story. And Wonder, for those of you who don't know, is that Julia Roberts, Owen Wilson inspirational movie that opened against Justice League and ate Justice League's lunch. That's some shit right there where Justice League loses to Wonder. Wonder made money hand over fist. We'll get into that in trailer talk.
Right.
Expendables 4, which they ain't show anything. Saw 6, they ain't showing, or Saw 10, they ain't show anything. And Hunger Games we'll get into in trailer talk. So that was CinemaCon. because Joyride, it seemed people really loved. It was really funny. It was filthy, has lots of vomit, lots of drugs, lots of sex. So cool. It's a bunch. It's listen, Asian ladies, y'all are funny. Y'all got a lot of Asian comedians who are hilarious. But
you'll never lose if you aim for the lowest common denominator.
Look, I'll see it when it drops. Right. If I get a screening, cool. If not, fine. But right. I'm not excited for that. So that's CinemaCon.
Whew.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That's a lot. Look. I don't. Lionsgate out here struggling, bro. Even Paramount came out and was like, yo, we got this, and they're just like, we got some title treatments.
Wait, Saw 10.
We got some title treatments for reheated franchises.
Look, we changed the font.
Yeah, and they copied Fast and Furious, so it's Saw X. So Saw 10, Roman numeral 10. Yeah. It works for Fast and Furious because they know what they are, bro.
Garbage.
Oh, boy. All right. So before we get into what have you watched lately, let's get into Perry Mason. This season was great. I really liked how it turned out. There was twists and turns, and I had no idea how they were going to take this from week to week.
Yeah. I mean, the last 2 episodes, I could, you see where it's building to, but from the beginning of the season to now, it's almost like it became a different show, and it's. I love the first season. A lot of people thought it was too slow, yada yada yada. You don't have that problem with this season, and everything or everyone has a resolution that I'm okay with.
Yeah, I hope it gets renewed for a season 3 because season 3 is going to be real interesting. I read some articles with the showrunner, and they asked "Hey, is Paul going to be in the 3rd season?" He's like, "Yeah, this is a 3 protagonist show, which is Perry, Della, and Paul. So Paul will be back in the next season. He just might not be directly working with Perry, but eventually he will be with Perry, because he's like, that's the nature of this. We want Paul to be his own man, but he will come back eventually into the main story."
Right.
It's better than season 1, 10 times better.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an improvement over season 1. It's a more cohesive narrative, and that when the case shifts, right, and it's not so much about proving the innocence, but finding out who set everything up.
Right.
It became it's from week to week. It's oh shit.
Yeah, man. I got nothing else to say, so let's move right into Succession, which has been watching 2 dumbasses just stumble.
They
especially
are
Roman. Roman's a fucking idiot.
No, you know what? I hate Kendall now because Kendall is so he's got this idea of him trying to be his father. Right.
And honestly, if I'm in his position, I'm about to make $10 billion just myself, I'm out. I'd be like, yo, I would stick to the original plan, which is us 3 run our own company and let's get this money and build our shit, because fuck that. I know Alexander Skarsgård out of spite was big dicking them. I was like, all right, ATN is mine now. But I mean, who cares? ATN, I would be like, all right, I don't care.
We're
I know that's near
Pierce.
and dear. I understand that's near and dear to Logan's heart, and that's why they want to keep it, because Logan really wanted to keep it. But who cares? Who cares? You guys could build your own TV media conglomerate, which they were going to do. And now Kendall's like, we should be running the company. This should be our company. And I'm just like, No, man. Just get your money and get the fuck out.
Like, build your own fucking thing. You have a. It's like they can't be happy just being rich.
Yes.
Right? And not even rich, wealthy.
Right.
Right? Like, it's this last episode, I just wanted to punch fucking Kendall in the face.
Hey, man, he pulled off that presentation.
Yeah, he pulled off the presentation, but like, just
and
take
Alexander
the money and run.
Skarsgård, he fucked up. He fucked up pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, but you know, out of spite, Alexander Skarsgård is still going to pay whatever the market, like, new number is.
They are making 100 and this company's being sold for 100 and I think 180 or 170 billion.
Right.
And each of the Roy children are making a piece 10 billion off this sale. That's free money for doing no work. Like, I'm just going to take the billion and run. I don't care about the company. The company ain't that important. And it's so bad because they have this black hole in the background getting bigger and bigger with this political candidate that their dad was backing, who they're just like, yo, this stuff's gaining traction and it's bad. Like, all this shit coming about this dude, Jared Mencken, we should really handle it. And they're just like, we'll get to it eventually. And I'm just like, no. I would, if I was them, I'd be like, okay, let's get our money. And when that Jared Mencken stuff explodes, that's all our dad's fault.
Right. It's because, you know what? You've sold ATN anyway, right? So you don't have to deal with any of that shit.
It really is his fault. It really is Logan's fault. Like, look. Man. I hope Shiv gets her money and gets out of there. Like, leave Tom, leave her brothers. At this point, like, Shiv just needs her money and then just needs to skate off into the wind.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And like, I get it. Like, what's Alexander Skarsgård's character's name?
Lucas or something like that?
Yeah, he's done scumbagish shit and he's done scumbagish things, but like, who cares? You're bleeding him of $180 billion. You won. And when the original price was like 120 or 100, right. It was something much significantly lower.
Just fucking be rich and happy.
Yeah, listen. Kendall won this episode, man. Kendall won.
But you could see, like, in the beginning of the presentation, like, oh, he's going to kindle the shit out of this. He's going to fuck it up. He's going to be so awkward. But he did pull it out. But like, he's going to find a new way to fuck it up, right?
I think it's Roman, honestly, because Roman's been making he has good, like I said before, he has good business savvy, but he lets his assholishness get the best of him. Like, I understand he needed to make it clear, like, for the time that I'm here, I'm in charge and you can't talk to me like that. But firing a studio head, like firing Jerry, I was like, yeah, sure, fuck her. Honestly, fuck her. But you're really going to fire a studio head off some stuff that she implied? Like, I understand she was being disrespectful, but yo.
They all just need to go to fucking therapy. That's all they need. They need to deal with this grief. Because, like, in the timeline of the show, he's only been dead, what, a week?
I think less, like four days.
Yeah, they need to take time to process with this shit because they are making dumb moves. And this whole entire thing with this Living Plus is gonna collapse because the numbers are juked.
I would just get my money and dip, to be honest with you. Like, I would say you could put that on your resume. I was CEO of Waystar Royco. Even if it was for like a month or two, you were still CEO.
But here's the thing. With $10 billion, you never have to do anything.
That's true.
Ever.
That's
again.
true. That's true. You know what? With $1 billion, you wouldn't have to do anything. Shit. With $200 million, you wouldn't have to do anything. Like, I could live off of $20 million for the rest of my life.
Man, who you telling? Like, so just be fucking rich. just be fuck. Now they're pissing me off.
Yo, because if it was me and Logan was my dad, I'd straight up tell Lucas, I'd be like, yo, listen, it's your company, but I hope you burn this shit to the ground. Because fuck them.
Right? Like, for someone that they hated so much, they're all going to end up.
Yeah, they're all
just
suddenly
like
invested in his legacy all of a sudden.
Right? They're invested in his legacy, but they're all just going to end up just like him.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that was clear from the episode right after Logan died. I was just like, the way Kendall was like using that leverage of that note that said Kendall CEO. I was just like, oh, dude, I saw it in the way he was maneuvering. I'm like, bro, you're becoming just like your dad.
Right. And it's like, oh.
I was like, don't do that, dog. Just be the interim CEO with your brother. And they should always be keeping Shiv in the loop because Shiv is the smartest person and is the most she has the most business acumen and business savvy out of all of them.
And like here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think this show's going to end with them losing everything because they keep on fucking around.
That's true. And like, yo, look, that shit that they pulled at the beginning of the episode where they're like, we don't know. He might tank the company. And they're just like, yeah, we don't care because by that time we're all paid. We're all paid.
$10 billion.
Get your fucking money and get out, bro.
Just get your fucking bread. Ugh.
Yeah.
So I have no idea where this fucking show's gonna go.
Yeah. And fuck Tom too.
But I feel bad for Tom, right? Because he really does love Shiv, right? And every time she has a chance, she shits all over him, right? And that's before he betrayed her to her father.
But it's just funny, though, watching him squirm now where he's going up to Kendall. He's just like, I could be a service going up to Roman. I could be a service. And then Greg's seeing that shit and he's just like, oh, I don't have to put up with this motherfucker anymore. And now he's working directly with Kendall, Shiv, and Roman. And I'm just like, oh, well, I mean, Tom ain't shit.
But also, fuck Greg, this goofy ass motherfucker. Such a good show.
Yo, if I was Greg, I would somehow find my way and finagle $1 billion and then get out of there. You would never see me again. I'd be like, yo, get me a private jet somewhere far away from here, and I'm going to wait till this all blows over, and I'll come back.
I was like, I'll just come back to sign my check.
Oh, man. Shit. All right. And then with that, I guess we'll talk The Mandalorian I was right. It was a mistake bringing back Moff Gideon.
Yeah. I don't know why we had this season.
I don't either.
Well, I understand why they made the season, but it narratively, it moves very little, right? There's no progression of Mando and Grogu. Or Grogu, there's no closure there. It seems like it's just set up. Everything here is setting up the fourth season. It felt real Marvel.
I said this to you off this show, and I'll say it again right now. I did not like the dot connecting. Like the beginning of episode 7. Where they had the council of the remnants of the Empire, like Hux's dad's there, so they're tying it into the sequels. You find out that Moff Gideon is cloning himself, so there's tying into the prequels to make it more palatable that Palpatine cloned himself for the sequel trilogy. And I'm just like, all this dot connecting is fucking bullshit right now.
Right, admit that you made bad movies.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And don't try to convince us with these TV shows that the bullshit that you put out before works, because it doesn't.
And you know what made The Mandalorian good was that it was its own thing.
Right. As soon as they introduced Luke Skywalker into this fucking show, it went downhill. Right. And I said it, like, that was the worst part of was a season 2 finale or season 1 finale?
It was season. I think it was season 2.
Yeah. Like
where
when
Luke came in and took Grogu.
Right. And it was like, oh fuck, can we get away from that original trilogy?
No, you're absolutely right, dude.
Like, I love the original trilogy. It'll always have a place in my heart. It made me want to be a filmmaker. Made my love for film, everything. But I'm done with it. Right. Like, let that live.
Yes.
Right. Not everything has to connect to that.
We said this off mic, and I'm going to say it again. The one thing that really gets me is that now, in addition to this, we Boba Fett, Ahsoka, which is coming out this summer, Skeleton Crew, and I think one other show. I think it's Acolyte.
Right.
Now all these are going to fucking conclude in a movie by Dave Filoni, and I'm like, all right, so now I got to watch 5 different shows to get closure for the one show that I'm actually invested in.
Look, I get what they're doing and why they're doing it, but they should stop.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking Andor proves that you can make something different and interesting in the Star Wars universe without tying into the Skywalker legacy.
Right.
Like, not once in Rogue One or in Andor do they mention they don't try to connect the dots.
Well, yeah,
except for Rogue One. But like,
at least Rogue One, they do it in a cool way. Like, that's probably the best sequence with Vader ever put on film was in Rogue One.
It's just like, and don't get me started on fucking Obi-Wan. Yeah, I forgot about Obi-Wan.
I did too.
Yeah,
and he's gonna pop up. Him and Anakin are gonna pop up in Ahsoka. For those of you who remember, Ahsoka's master was Anakin.
Like, we have so many options, storytelling wise, for this universe. Right? You can create new fucking characters on the Outer Rim. Like, you can. It's frustrating. It's fucking frustrating.
I'll be real with you. I didn't understand why Moff Gideon was so obsessed with Mandalorian technology and shit like that. I was just like, when we got there and that was the reveal, was that he took over Mandalore and has been using it as his secret base for his little empire activities. I was like, this is a waste of good storytelling that could have been used to further explore Mandalorian lore instead of doing this dumb shit.
Right.
Because that's what I thought this season was going to be about, was exploring the lore and the history and culture of Mandalore. And it was not that at all.
Honestly, I thought it was going to transition to be what's Katie Shakoff's character's name?
Bo-Katan.
Yeah, I thought it was going to transition and she was going to be the Mandalorian, like the title of the Mandalorian, and it was her quest to unite all of the fractured Mandalorians across the universe.
Right.
I thought this was all, like, halfway through season 3. I was like, all right, so now it's going to be the show's going to be about her quest going into season 4, bringing everybody together.
We were kind of back where we ended at the first season with Grogu and Din Djarin just going through the galaxy. That's where we ended up back at the end of season 4. Is like, it's going to be them on quest. And I'm just like, we should not have sat through 2 seasons to get back here.
Back to square one, right? So it's just it's dumb and disappointing.
I hope season 4 is it, because they've said that Mandalorian season 2, its ratings have been significantly lower than the first 2 seasons. And it's just like, well, man, when you keep shoving out shit.
Right. When you keep on keep on going back to Mos Eisley to go, to the mechanic and shit like that. You keep on putting in all these guest stars like in these one-off episodes that really don't move the needle.
And you cannot follow up Andor with this. I'm sorry.
Right. Like I get Andor is a totally different show. I get that, right? But Mandalorian season 1 was fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? Mandalorian season 2, halfway through it started to nosedive, but still. All right, but this last season season 3 is like, why am I here?
Oh yeah,
why am I here? Let me just go watch. Let me go watch season 1 again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this season felt like a waste of time. The only thing that we did was get everybody united and back on Mandalore, and I was like, fine, that's cool, but everything to get from there to there was a waste of time, especially with our lead character not even in the mix with that shit.
Yeah, so it's like,
and then we still got to deal with the mythosaur,
right? Like
we still got to deal with that.
So yeah, that's our wrap up of fucking Mandalorian season 3. Fuck you.
Ahsoka in August.
Yay.
All right. So, Jeff, what have you watched lately?
What are you watching?
So, I haven't really been watching too many movies lately over the last week or two. It's mostly been TV. So, we'll start with the final season of Barry.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to talk about that. It's been wild. It's been very wild and unexpected.
To say the least, it's reminding you why it's one of the best shows on TV. Everybody's an asshole, right? Yeah,
because I understand. I hated Sally, but I understand where Sally's coming from now that I've met her parents.
Right, 100%. And out of this whole entire show, NoHo Hank has the best arc, right? Character arc. And he doesn't become the best person, but like he really has gone from like being comic relief to being a full-on villain. Right? Did you see last night's episode?
Yeah, with the time jump and everything.
Yeah, and it's like,
I thought that was a dream, but
so did I.
Until I read interviews with the creative cast, they were just like, no, it's a time jump, so that's all for real.
Oh shit. Yeah. All right, so the show's wild. This show is fucking wild. So now I really have no idea how it's going to end. But yeah, Barry season 4 is already out the gate, 4 episodes, just killing it.
Fuchs finally got his. He finally got what he deserved.
Right? And I feel bad for Fuchs because
I don't.
He can't let Barry go.
I don't. Right? He got beaten to a pulp, and now he's by himself in prison, and everybody in prison just looking at him like, look at this motherfucker. We can't even, people are looking at him like, yo, we can't even fuck with him because he's just so pathetic.
Right. But he didn't snitch. He did not snitch. Moving on from Barry, I started on Friday Citadel on Amazon Prime. It's okay. Like the trailer, the concept seemed like it was going to be, some real next level shit. The first episode was blah. Second episode got better. It's fun enough. You know, it's fun enough espionage thriller type thing, but honestly, besides the whole entire main concept of spies having their memories wiped, it seems very just basic. Basic, like standard issue. You've seen this a million times before. Now we're only 2 episodes in, so you know I'll go through it. I'll keep pumping through it, but these first 2 episodes, I'm not all that impressed. All right, moving on from that, on Netflix, there's a show called Florida Man about an ex-cop who is sent to Florida to retrieve the girlfriend of his mobster boss. I see what they want to do with this show, right? It's trying to be fun and quirky. It just seems like it's trying too hard, right? The jokes don't hit. The acting's mid at best. Yeah, I would rather just go back and watch Sneaky Pete, right? Because it's that same sort of caper-ish vibe, but it just feels like it's done by committee. It doesn't seem like anyone actually enjoyed making this show. So that's Florida Man. Take that as you will. On HBO Max, there's this new animated show called Fired on Mars.
Yeah, that show's weird.
It is very weird, and I kind of fuck with it.
It was rough watching the first 2 episodes just to watch this dude get trashed on, but now these last week's other 2 episodes, you're seeing him start to actually get some agency in his story. Because I'm going to get into it in my portion of what have you watched lately, but I don't like watching shows or movies where there's a meek or timid person and they're the protagonist and they are a passenger in their own story with no agency.
Right.
Because that's not good storytelling to me.
Yeah, no, 100%. Fired on Mars, it reminds me, it has a real Mike Judd feel to it. You know, like when he was doing those Office Space shorts on MTV with Milton. It feels like that. It's like the mundanity of corporate life on Mars. And it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder. I'm in it. You know, like I'm enjoying it. Moving on from that, we will go to. I watched the John Mulaney's new comedy special, Baby J. I'm a big fan of John Mulaney. You know, from his days on SNL, his stuff on his stuff with Seth Meyers, and all that stuff like that. This entire show is about his cocaine addiction and him going to rehab. It's hilarious, but it's also kind of it's honest and heartfelt. You know, it sort of reminded me of a more comedy version of Nathaniel. You know, very just opening the books on your soul and like kind of just letting everyone know about the experiences that you're going through. So yeah, I highly suggest that anyone who has Netflix go watch Baby J. All right, moving on from that, we're going to go into movies. Hulu, suggested that I rewatch Tony Scott's The Fan with Robert De Niro and Wesley Snipes. And I had always remembered not liking this movie, right? But I haven't seen it in years. I rewatched it, And I'm going to say it's not one of Tony Scott's best films, but there's still a lot of character and fun in there. And I love it when Robert De Niro plays a scumbag. All right? He plays a scumbag so well in This Boy's Life. And there's shades of that here. Of how he's just like this disconnected, awkward man, just sort of terrorizing Wesley Snipes. And it's got all the hallmarks of a Tony Scott film, the extreme close-ups, the quick cuts, the racing through the streets and shit like that. It's one of those movies that you have to get some distance from it to actually appreciate what was actually there. All right. Moving on from that, I'm going to end with I saw Evil Dead Rises. And I wish I hadn't.
I mean, is it better than Fede's?
Yeah, it's better than Fede's.
So then it ain't even half bad.
Right. But that's not saying much. Everyone knows who's listening to the show, I'm a big Evil Dead fan. This doesn't have any of the humor from those other from the original trilogy, which is fine. But this movie takes itself so fucking seriously, But it's the most kind of comedic setup for it, right? So they find there's an apartment building that was that it used to be an old bank. There's an earthquake. The garage falls apart, falls down, and there's a secret vault down there with the Necronomicon and some old recordings from a priest who, yada 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 yada. And it's just like, is this the setup? Is this how we're doing this? Like, it's just there. It's just like they just stumble.
It was just there in the cabin, man.
Yeah, but it just felt like it felt like it should have been there in the cabin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you take this, like in the recordings, guy took it out to the woods to study it, XYZ. Here, it's just buried in a bank vault with crosses all around it. The acting is horrible in this. Not one character is believable or likable. The gore effects are fantastic. It's not scary at all. It's just, look, it is what it is. Horror fans are going to love it because there's this low bar of entry for them. But so Evil Dead Rises, it's a movie. All right. That's I'm going to keep it short and sweet today. So there you go. That's what I got. What have you been watching?
I'm going to start with TV. Law and Order, they're both back. Both really good. Both one-off episodes. It's nice to watch organized crime do a episode of the week instead of a arc episode and still have it be deeply personal to all the characters. I thought that was cool. With a twist at the end that I ain't see coming. And with that, I want to get into the final season of Wu-Tang and American Saga. Bro, they all owe RZA an apology. Like, these motherfuckers. They look. Once the first album came out, they did not care.
Right.
It's just that simple. Like, him making beats for everybody. Inspector Deck was there, willing to put in the work, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. And I was just like, yo, if he's there, get his album out.
Right.
None of them had business savvy, and everybody and their cousin and RZA is trying to help them on the business moves, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. They're like, RZA, why you handling all the money, bro? I don't like that. He's like, yo, we all getting paid the same. All y'all can count that. And Raekwon was just like, I don't like that Capadonna's in the group now. Is it 7 or is it 8 members now, RZA? Why is he getting paid the same as the rest of us when he got one verse on one song? And then Meth goes, yo, you need to shut up with that because my album is platinum. I'm the biggest person here. And if we're going to do that, then you know what? I could be getting paid more than all y'all. He's just like, whoa. And Raekwon's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He's like, yeah, that's what I thought.
There's a definition of that. Should never give those niggas money.
Yo, exactly. So for those of you who are fans of Wu-Tang, you know that they toured with my favorite musical group, Rage Against the Machine, in '97. It was a legendary tour because it burnt out after like 10 or 12 dates, and the rest of the dates were filled in with the Roots. This show shows you exactly why it burnt out. Fucking, they went on late because they were waiting on them to show up. Some days it was just RZA, Method Man, Inspector Deck, and You God, and everybody else was nowhere to be found. Like, I understand Ghostface was dealing with his diabetes and shit, but like, just for him to be like, I don't feel like it, and the fact that like ODB, like, there comes a point where you just got to drop your crazy cousin and just be like, well, you're on your own. Like, ODB wasn't there to perform, but was on the tour because he was with roadies who was going from show to show.
Oh, man.
So it got so bad that they got kicked off the tour. Like, the promotional manager was like, yo, we paid for Wu-Tang Clan. We didn't pay for 3 members of the Wu-Tang Clan or 4. We paid for all of them. So on the last night that they were supposed to perform, RZA is like, yo, listen, all of you are finally here now, and it's too late. He's like, I've done nothing but put y'all niggas on, get money in your hand, make y'all famous. I'm tired of y'all. I'm done. This is it. Because even Raekwon was bitching, even though that was their biggest tour at the moment, at the time, that was their biggest tour ever. And Raekwon was like, I don't want to perform for these fans. These are rock niggas. We ain't rock niggas. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, word. And then they had to go. It shows them they went out and they performed on their last night of the tour because they all felt bad because, you know, RZA was the one looking out for him because he even said, he's like, all y'all would be dead or in jail if it wasn't for me. And I'm like, yo, you got a point. And they still do this shit to this day, specifically Raekwon and Ghost. Like, Wu-Tang breaks up because of them, because they're just like, yo, RZA's not paying us. RZA's not paying us. And then RZA and his lawyers got to always be like, yo, you're an equal part of Wu-Tang. It's in the contract. We all getting paid the same amount of money. My bread and your bread's the same. I might have a little more because I'm doing movies or I'm scoring or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And Raekwon's only put out one good album.
I didn't even know he had multiple albums.
Yeah. Like, even Only Built for Cuban Links 2, it's good, but it ain't Only Built for Cuban Links 1. Like, that's the only good album he's ever fucking dropped. So for him to be coming through, and RZA was experimenting on it shows them making the second album, and everybody's like, we don't like this bullshit. You have an orchestra in here. Where are the beats?
It's like, it's our people, man. It's our people.
I like the allegorical episodes of the seasons. There's 3 of them. One was a blaxploitation film, which chronicled through like a blaxploitation movie of ODB's album. The other one was a gangster movie starring Ray and Ghostface, chronicling the making of Only Built for Cuban Links. And then the last one, it was a allegorical, post-apocalyptic, like little kung fu sci-fi western with Jizza, chronicling the making of Liquid Swords.
Oh, okay.
So those were cool, but like, yeah, look. If y'all want to know, like, I remember going to a Roots show where Roots, for the first time in their life, headlined Radio City Music Hall. And I remember going, they played 2 nights. And me and my friends, we went the first night, hip hop night, because they promised mad special guests. It's going to be crazy. It's going to blow your mind. Everybody who was supposed to be there came out except for 3 people. Dave Chappelle was late, didn't come out till the very end, and Black Thought and Quest were so pissed off, they grabbed him. You see them both grab him by the neck and take him off stage.
Oh, word! Oh,
and
shit.
There was a whole 30-minute gap where the Roots were just freestyling and improvising, because at that point in time, RZA, Ghostface, and Raekwon were supposed to come out and do some joints off of Only Built for Cuban Links and Iron Man, and them niggas didn't show up. So they pull this shit still to this day.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I'm just like, yo, it don't take nothing for you guys to just show up, perform for an hour, get your money, and dip. Like, yo, I see why RZA's like, yeah, I look, Wu-Tang, we'll do Wu-Tang if everybody's there, but if not, then like I'm gonna go make my money somewhere else. And the Black Keys, when they made that Black Rock album, they said, yeah, we liked working with a lot of people except for like our most positive experience was working with RZA, because RZA's a real musician, but like, right. And Mos Def they liked working with, and the singer Nicole Ray they like working with, but they're like, yeah, working with Raekwon was a nightmare. Working with MOP was a nightmare. I'm like, yeah, because these Staten Island and Brooklyn niggas, like,
they different.
And you know what, man? Look, I've noticed, if you notice the rap game and notice who has longevity and who doesn't, it's the people who constantly grind. Like Jay-Z's still out here grinding. Nas is still out here grinding.
Like half the battle is showing up.
Yes.
Half the battle showing up.
Yeah. And honestly, I've seen them perform together and I've seen them perform separately. And Ghostface is better either with the entire Wu-Tang Clan or separately, not with Raekwon. Because when he's with Raekwon, he's on Raekwon's bullshit. Because I've seen him perform separately and he shows up on time, he gives a great performance, and then he leaves. So they still pull this shit to this day. RZA ain't paying us, bro. We ain't making this album because RZA ain't paying us. Even though he's proved time and time again, he's looked out for everybody's best interest.
Right.
There's a reason why Method Man is who he is, man. He listened to RZA, and now he's a multi-millionaire.
All right, so I gotta get into this third season. It's the final season, right?
Yeah.
How many episodes?
10.
All right.
Moving on from that, I watched the first episode of Love and Death, and it's pretty good. Pretty good so far.
Okay.
It's nice to see Elizabeth Olsen in other things that's not Marvel. And she's been saying that publicly too. She's like, yeah, I'm so glad to be on a break from this Marvel shit.
I mean, on a break, isn't she dead? Like,
we'll see. If she says she's on break, that means she's coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, they did her. Look, they haven't done justice to that character whatsoever. So,
well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's nice to see her with actual material. Like she is an actress. Like she does put in great performances. It's hard to watch. It's based on a true story. And so far in this first episode, I'm like, if I was Jesse Plemons, man, I'd be all up in there. If Elizabeth Olsen's sitting looking at me like, yo, listen, I want to fuck you, and just look at me in the eyes, salivating at the lips, I'm just gonna be like, all right then. I'm not gonna be sitting there being like, because they show you his home life and he's trying to be a good husband and father,
right?
And his wife is, she's crazy. I told you not to take our daughter to see this. I need you to have sex with me right now because we have to have another kid. And he's just like, can I go to sleep? Like, I'm tired. He's like, I'm going to be ovulating in 2 hours. We need to have sex right now. And I'm like, oh my God. So if Elizabeth Olsen came up to me, he's like, yo, so like, what's good? I'd be like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah. It's all right. Yeah. What's good, Ma?
So, with that, I want to move on to a bunch of reviews. Usually I'd save all these movies for the main review, but who knows when we're going to get to our next episode. So let's get through all these movies. So let's start with, I got a screener link for Einsmen. I think that's how you say it. Einsmen. It's a psychological horror movie, like a folk horror movie, takes place in Ireland, stands for Rock Island. And it's basically like a lesser version of The Lighthouse, where this woman is reliving her past trauma, and you find out by the end, but it's throughout the movie, it's left up to you if she's really experiencing this or if she's hallucinating this.
Okay.
I went to a press screening for Chevalier. Chevalier is based on a true story about a black violinist who was lost in time. It was lost in time. He was born from a white slaver, dude who owned the plantation in France, and a Haitian mother. And because that was his kid, he was just like, yo, listen, you're not an equal, but you're higher than a slave. So you're still a Frenchman. And he's just like, yo, listen, these kids are going to fuck with you because you're black. You're going to get beat up because you're black. But you got to just show them that you're the best because and at the end of the day, you're a Frenchman. So he takes that to heart and he becomes like a master fencer, and he's known as a master concerto. And he got lost through history because France wanted him out the paint. And this movie, because this takes place during Marie Antoinette's reign, and this again shows you like, yo, don't trust white women, number one. And number two, they love you till they don't.
That's God honest fucking truth right there.
Yes. I want y'all to understand this. Listening. They love you till they don't. So Chevalier, I highly recommend seeing it if it's still in theaters. If it's not in theaters, it should be on VOD soon. I saw this anime movie. It's beautifully animated, a beautiful story called Suzume. Suzume is about this teenage girl who comes across this handsome young man, and she follows him to this abandoned site where some strange things are happening, and it leads her on a quest across Japan to not only save this young man, but save the world in general. And it's a beautiful movie. I was like, damn, I was expecting to see some bullshit. I was just like, it was a popular anime playing right around the corner. I was like, yeah, why not? And right. I sat there and I was just like, I was blown away. I was like, I was not expecting this shit to be this good. Distributed by Toho and Funimation, because Funimation got their fingers and everything. But shout out to Toho. I should have known, like, once that Toho logo popped up on screen, I was like, oh, so this is a real movie.
Right.
Toho don't put out no bullshit. I saw Renfield. It's all right.
Oh, yeah.
It's an hour and a half. And, like, this seems like it was made by, like, it's just bland. Like, you could tell this is, like, a bland... Dude, it feels like the studio made this than an actual director. And despite that, like Nicholas Hoult, so giving a good performance. The opening action scene with him breakdancing, dodging the fucking knives and shit was cool. And Nicolas Cage is actually like really great as Dracula, but it's just everything else where I'm just like, Like even Awkwafina, I'm like, yo, she shouldn't have been in this movie because I'm confused. I'm like, are they supposed to have romantic interest or are they just there to help each other out? Like the movie never makes that clear.
Oh, that's the same problem I had with Awkwafina in the fucking Shang-Chi. It's like, are they friends or are they trying to fuck? Like,
yeah, it was weird. It was weird. Like they're afraid of making Awkwafina a romantic interest for a lead character, and I'm just like, it's not like you're casting someone who's unattractive. Like Awkwafina's not ugly,
right? And like it's, and if they didn't want to go that way, making her love interest and like their buddies and stuff like that, stop blurring the lines.
Yes, yeah,
right. Make it definitive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, this will be on Peacock within a few weeks. I guarantee you. By the end of May, it'll be up on Peacock because this movie bricked hard. and it cost too much money. Like watching this movie, I thought like, oh, 20, 30 million. This was not that bad. It was $68 million. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Where'd that money go? 68 million on this? Okay. All right. Y'all fucked around and y'all found out. A couple of weeks ago, I went to a press screening of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. And they're handing out plastic wine cups. So shout out to Lionsgate. Thank you. That was awesome. This is a good movie. Look, I'd never read the book. The book has been a staple since the 70s. Like, women of every different races, types, classes all relate to this book. And watching this movie, I was like, I get it. I absolutely get it. If I had a daughter, I would make her watch this movie. I would also, if I was a single dad and I had a daughter, I'd make sure I have a female friend around, because there's stuff in this movie where as a dad, I'm like, I'm not equipped to handle this. I'm going to take you to somebody I trust, and she's going to help you with this shit. But it's a good movie. It really is a good movie. Too bad it flopped.
Well,
you know, everybody's still seeing Super Mario. They don't give a fuck about, you know, which is a shame, because if you're a girl, like from the age of 10 or older, you should probably see this movie.
And there's been no real marketing push on this movie, honestly.
It's a shame, man. Like, this is by Kelly Fremont Cragg, and she did The Edge of 17, which I thought was okay, but everybody lost their minds over. I was like, that's all right. This is a much better movie, like just across the board.
I mean, it'll find its legs on streaming.
And this is what I hate, because now it's going to hit stream and everybody's going to be like, why didn't anybody see this? How could you let this flop? And I'm just like, yo, look, that's on you. I'm sitting here telling you, like, yo, it's good. Like, I hate when that shit happens. Saw Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Pretty good movie. Pretty good. It's not as good as Operation Fortune, you know, but, you know, the ending made me mad, because there's a title card at the end where it said, like, 1 week after the U.S. left the Middle East, the Taliban fully regained control and is more powerful than it's ever been. I'm just like, this is what I hate, man. And this movie proves why, like, the movie even proves why the American military ain't shit, because we promised these people, like, yo, if you help us, you could come to America, have a better life because you helped us out. And we renege on that shit time and time again. And just leave them to the wolves. People with babies.
Yeah. I mean, like, America's the king of gaslighting. I was like, oh, yeah.
Don't get it twisted, though. This is a Guy Ritchie movie through and through. Like, it is a Guy Ritchie movie. It just doesn't have the Guy Ritchie humor.
Okay.
I prefer Guy Ritchie in action comedy mode. That's my Guy Ritchie.
Right.
Like Operation Fortune, Snatch, Lock, Stock.
Not Wrath of Man, huh?
Yeah, not Wrath. Like, Wrath of Man is actually better than The Covenant.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, with that, I got a screener link for a movie called The Lost King. It's about Sally Hawkins. I love me some Sally Hawkins. Sally Hawkins, she figured out where King George has been buried. And so it's her trying to convince the University of Cambridge to help support her in digging up these ruins. And you know how that goes. Oh, she didn't find his remains. We did. Based on a true story.
Okay.
You know, because the Brits are pieces of shit. Got a screener link today for Paint with Owen Wilson.
I wanted. Wait, isn't that in theaters now?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I wanted to see that.
Yeah, I got the screener link for it. Shout out to IFC. The movie's boring as shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not funny. It's there, and it's an hour and a half, and I was bored out of my mind.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Saw Polite Society.
How was that?
Pretty good. This flopped as well.
once again, no one knew about it. Like if you can't be surprised if your movies flop if you put out a trailer on YouTube and don't do any sort of marketing push for it.
I mean, every movie I've went to see had this trailer beforehand. So look, if I hadn't seen the trailer, that whole thing with the mother-in-law,
right,
that would have came out of nowhere, where I'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? The action is dope, though. I'll give it that. The action's dope. The character is likable enough, even though I'm just like, girl, you need to calm down, even though she's proven right in the end, because the big reveal about why the mother-in-law wants her sister to marry her son is fucking wild. Like, you will not be able to guess why in a million years. Like, once they reveal that, I was just like, this came out of nowhere, and this is wild on so many levels.
All right.
So, yeah, Polite Society. Peter Pan and Wendy on not Paramount Plus, Disney Plus. Pretty good. Better than it has any right to be. It is a Disney Plus movie. Like, David Lowery was out of his mind when he was saying it's his best movie. I'm like, calm down. This ain't even at Pete's Dragons level, but it is good.
All right.
It is good. Like, this will not change your world, but it's something where it's like an hour, 40 minutes. You're going to watch it and you're going to be like, oh, that was cool. You know, it's cool. It's crazy that a movie made for streaming, they let him shoot on film. That's absolutely crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the budget on this thing, man?
It was expensive. The best part of the movie is at the beginning where Peter Pan's chasing his shadow. I was like, that's some inventive shit, the way they shot it.
All right. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch that this weekend, but yeah, I'll give it a look.
Okay, and that's new movie. Let me finish with this one. I want to finish with this one before I get into some old stuff. A few weeks ago, I got to see Beau is Afraid on IMAX. It was shot in the 1.85 aspect ratio, which is like 70 millimeter aspect ratio. So if you go see it in IMAX, depending on what IMAX screen you go to, it takes up the whole screen or most of it. Yeah, there's stuff about this movie I like, and there's stuff about it I hate. Like, it's not a bad movie, but I hesitate to say that it's good.
Isn't it like 3 hours long?
Yes, and it's fucking way too long. There's like a whole section where I was like, this could have been shorter.
Right.
Like I said earlier, my biggest problem is like, he's painted as like, even Ari Aster described him, he is a loser. And I'm just like, how is he a loser? This is just a dude who has super anxiety because of his mother. Like, this dude lives in fear and anxiety. And his mom is overbearing, and is just, you see by the end of the movie, like, yo, she created what she created. Like,
right.
Some of this just doesn't make sense. And it's like, this is an absurdist comedy. But, like, some of it is absurd just for absurd's sake. Like, there's a reveal at the end where I was just like, what? In the grand scheme of things, what does this even have to do? I don't understand what you're trying to do here. And the last 10 minutes, I had no idea what was the point of it, especially the way it ends. I was just like, what was the point of these last 10 minutes?
But was it, like you said, it was an absurdist comedy. Is it funny?
The first hour I thought was funny. And the first hour to me is the best, because the first hour really captures what it's like to have an extended anxiety attack.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like that sequence, that animated sequence where he's watching, because in the movie he's watching a play and he imagines himself in the play. And you see it in the trailer where he's walking through these vast landscapes. That was the best part of the movie and the most inventive part of the movie. But like, yeah, man, I'm tired of watching like these passive, meek, timid characters be a passenger in their own movie. You know what I mean? Like, no agency, no nothing. It's just all this bad shit is happening to them, and everybody's blaming them for everything that's happening, that's going on, where I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, that's why I don't like A Serious Man by the Coens.
Right.
I hate that movie.
And like, here's the thing. I am one of the few people who didn't really fuck with Midsummer.
I fucking love Midsummer. Like, Hereditary is the one where I'm just like, it's okay.
Like, Midsummer was like, I've seen this before. It's it's Wicker Man plus. So seeing hit, like, when this was announced, and it was announced that it was an absurdist comedy and stuff like that, it didn't really feel like he was going to be able to do this, right? Because nothing in his CV suggests comedy, right?
Right.
Even like, we have to talk about, like, there's this thing about the Johnsons, his short film, right? That is one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen. And it was billed as a comedy, but wasn't funny at all. It was funny because you were so uncomfortable. Yeah. So Bo was missing. I love Joaquin Phoenix, but yeah,
this is Ari Aster described this as a loser trying to get home to his mother, and I'm just like, it's hard for me to see him. I don't see what makes him a loser. This is a dude with extreme anxiety. Like, if that's how you describe this, then like, that's kind of, it's a failure. It's not like the dude is inherently like not trying to do anything with his life or shit like that. This is a dude with anxiety and clear like mental health issues. He also described it as Jewish Lord of the Rings, and I'm just like, I'm not a Jew, right? I don't know Jewish culture, but to say it's Lord of the Rings, no.
I think maybe he was mainly like, oh, it's a quest.
It's a dumbass quest, to be honest with you. Look, A Serious Man, I respect a little more because I saw that movie twice. I went to go see it in theaters, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And then I saw it again in school. And in school, my professor said, for those of you who aren't Jewish, you won't understand it because this is a movie for Jews only. And he's like, the abrupt ending is there for a reason. And I was just like, okay, sure. All right. Because, the ending of A Serious Man, it just stops. Like, that movie just stops after you watch this dude get put through the ringer and everybody treat him like he's a piece of shit. Look, it probably would benefit from another watch. However, I'm not going to the theater to see this fucking shit again.
Especially at 3 hours.
Yeah, man. That's because there's whole sections where I could fast forward through in this movie. And there's stuff in here where I'm just like, in the grand scheme of things, this makes no sense.
Right.
And you're trying to tell me his first cut was 4 hours and he wanted to put out the 4-hour cut? Get the fuck out of here. Honestly, this movie could have been 2 hours and like 30 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I mean, he's A24's golden boy, so I mean,
this is the most expensive A24 movie. Its budget is $35 million. It is not making its budget back. I'll tell you that right now.
Oof.
It opened in limited, and I saw it in limited release when it was IMAX only, right? New York and LA. Next week, it opened wide, and I was just like, walking out of that movie, I was just like, y'all planning on putting this out in a wide release? Like, this is one you might want to just
art houses
slowly let it roll out instead of just, here you go. At least because people was thinking Paramount was insane for putting Mother in a wide release, and I was just like, Mother's more accessible than this shit.
Oh, all right. Well, bold fucking words right there. Jesus.
Yeah, Bo is afraid. Yeah, they are not making their money back, dog. Like $35 million, I guarantee you will be lucky to gross 15.
Oh.
Let's do the math real quick, Jeff. I'm gonna Google this real quick. While I Google this, I'm gonna say this. A24, listen, Ari Aster, I get it. He's co-signed by Scorsese. He's co-signed by like his first two movies. Everybody lost their minds over, but like
everyone needs a flop.
I'll say this: I applaud. I can't even blame Ari Aster for this because this is his movie and this is his vision. So I applaud him for getting this out mass across like 1,000 screens across the nation. Like that, I gotta applaud. And I'm just like, yo, good for you. And there's a couple of big name critics who saw it the same time I did and swore up and down this was a career killer. I'm like, I was like, suck a dick. Look, it's okay to say you didn't like it and it's not for you, but to straight up be like, this is a career killer. Suck a dick.
Yeah, I mean, that's a strong statement. Fucking career killer. There have been motherfuckers who have married their own daughters, and they still are making movies every day. You know, on a yearly basis. So, he made a bad one. You know.
So when it was in limited release, when I saw it, it made a fuck ton of money. Right? It was only playing on 4 screens. So the IMAX, you know that Lincoln Square theater, right?
Right.
So the IMAX there, and then downstairs on a regular screen they had it on. And then in LA, it was playing in 2 IMAXs in LA. That opening weekend in limited release off of 4 screens, they made $320,000.
Okay.
That is $80,000 per screen. That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
When it went wide to 965 theaters the very next weekend, guess how much it made?
I don't know, like 5-6 million?
2.7. Its third weekend, it went from 965 theaters, which was this past weekend, was its third weekend. 965 theaters to 2,125 theaters. Why'd they put it out in more theaters? Who the fuck knows? Not like once you hit 1,000 screens for this movie, I'd say, yo, that's done. That's it. Right. That's enough. 2,125 theaters this past weekend. Guess how much it made?
I mean, if it made 2, I don't know, 800,000.
Close. 1.4 million.
Okay.
So far, this movie has made 5.8. So we might as well say $6 million. Let's round it up. $6 million off a $35 million budget. And that doesn't include the marketing for this because A24 knows how to market a movie very well.
All right. So this is a loser. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Look, it's better. A $35 million flop, a $36 million flop is easier to swallow than a $200 million flop.
A24, their budgeted movies are anywhere from like 5 to 10. Like they're an indie company for a reason. The fact that they're putting out like that's a studio level budget. And for studio level, that is a low budget movie because that's nothing to a studio. But for them, that is a studio level budget movie. That is wild.
Look, they live. You look. Everyone needs to spanking everyone once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So some other movies I watched. Easter Day, I watched Inland Empire. That's another 3-hour surrealist, absurdist movie, and that was more easy to digest because I understood that this woman was having a nightmare. It was an actress having a nightmare. She lives in Hollywood, trying to make it in Hollywood. I understand what Lynch was trying to do, even though it made no sense.
Right.
I understand the intent there. Like, I understand the intent with Beau is Afraid is that he has mommy issues, like severe mommy issues, but I mean, that's it. I rewatched the first 2 Guardians, which we'll get into in the main review. I saw for the first time Frailty.
The McConaughey?
Yeah, with Bill Paxton directed.
Yeah,
That's wild.
I love that fucking movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. That movie is wild. I took my brother and my mother to see Dungeons and Dragons again. That movie still fucking rules. I'm mad it's not making more money, but they also should have known better them putting it out between John Wick and Super Mario.
Right.
And the last thing I'm going to get into, which is over the weekend, they re-release Return of the Jedi into theaters, and I went to go see it. Yeah. Market Fair had it on its biggest screen. It's a big auditorium, holds like 200 people. Almost completely sold out.
All right.
Jeff, this movie played on 400 screens and made $5 million off of 400 screens.
I mean, look, Star Wars. That fan base runs deep. It's generational.
As I was waiting to get into my second screening of Guardians at the theater, I saw people, my brother, he was like, yo, look at this person. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, look. And I finally saw it. There's a dude dressed as a Jedi walking into the theater. I was like, damn, bro, really?
Look. The fans will find any reason to dress up for shit. Yeah, like I can't deny them that. It's just not. It's not me.
I'll say this. We really devalue Return of the Jedi. Like, I didn't realize how tight that movie is and how fast it moves. Like, we open on Han's rescue from Jabba, and that's like the whole first 30 minutes, and then the rest of the movie is them trying to destroy the Death Star and taking out Vader and the Emperor, and it's pretty streamlined. I was like, even the effects, like, you could clearly tell they're standing in front of matte paintings. I'm like, all this looks so much better because you see the intent and you see what they're trying. Like, it doesn't look like they're floating there. It looks like they are part of it, even though you can tell.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
the speeder bike chase, that shit's still fucking hard as shit. And there's no music during that entire speeder bike chase. Yeah. Like, it is visceral. Like, I had my hands in the armrest, like, oh shit.
And like, I don't hate Jedi as much as a lot of people out there. My only problem with the Jedi is the Ewoks.
Nah, man, I watching it again. I was like, yo, these Ewoks are fine. I get what he's trying to do here. The Ewoks are fine. They're like the Porgs. That's why I like Porgs, because I'm just like, they're just there. And at least the Ewoks tie into the narrative of the film. And,
right.
And if it wasn't for the Ewoks, they would have lost.
Yeah, I just like it honestly, it's the Jub Jub song.
I like that shit. Yo, listen, you gotta realize this is a multi-generational thing for a reason. Like, sitting next to me was a dad and his very young son, and like, by young I mean like this kid was like 4 or 5 years old. Like, I could pick him up and put him in my pocket. When they take Han, Chewie, and Luke to their little village in the trees, when they're swinging from tree to tree to get to the village, that little dude next to me, he was just like, whoa. I was like, yeah, see?
Yeah, but like, Jedi's good.
Yeah.
Like, it's the original trilogy still outshines everything. Yes,
because watching this, I was just like, the characters are so well written, everything's tight. The narrative that it's doing with the characters and everything is just so well done. And like, the only thing that pisses me off, like, we all know the infamous additions in these movies. Like, I don't have a problem with the CGI band in Jabba's palace. Right. I'm like, yeah, that's whatever. I was like,
it's just fine.
It's
whatever.
Jabba, he needs to show that Jabba has this big, because in the original it's just some dude in a blue fat suit playing like the horn, and this one it's a full musical sequence. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, man. You're doing a spectacle movie, like, nigga's gonna have a whole band in his palace. He's like a rich gangster. Like, I get that.
Right.
I don't mind that. I don't mind the addition of where we go from planet to planet where everybody's celebrating the death of the Death Star. We go back to Naboo and we see the Gungans dancing on the building saying, "We so free." I was like, oh, damn, this actually makes me like the Gungans a tad bit more. And then the only thing that pisses me off is when Vader picks up Luke, they put in the no from the Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, dude. Oh.
No. And they added in Hayden Christensen for the Jedi Ghost at the end. Because there's certain things where you can make minor changes and it doesn't change the intent of the movie, right?
Right.
Those two changes, to me, change the intent of the movie.
Right. Like, it's a disrespect to the actor who originally played the Force Ghost, right?
Yeah, because we get it. Because when Vader died, he's an old man. Like,
right.
If he didn't take off the mask and showed himself to Luke, then I'd be like, all right, yeah, he died when he was Hayden Christensen. But the fact that he takes off the mask and he's clearly older,
right,
and he looks at Luke as an old man, he should have been kept as old man Anakin. And then the no kind of takes that impact out of Vader's choice. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, because in the original cut, it's just like him looking back and forth.
Yes,
right?
And he picks him up and throws him down, and that's all you need. That's all you need. To add in the no, that makes no sense. And if he's screaming no, then the Emperor would turn around and fuck his ass up.
Right.
It changes when you start fucking with shit like that. It changes the intent. That's all I'm saying.
And this is a larger conversation about going back and re-editing movies that would be considered problematic today.
Right, because Spielberg still says that he regrets editing out the guns in E.T.
Right, and it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's you can't retcon history. Right, like,
because he went back and added the guns back in.
Right. Here's the thing. Like, I get, like when during the summer when we were taking down all the Confederate statues and shit like that, I get that, right? But we can never forget that shit was there, right? We can't pave over it,
right?
Because this is how you get new Nazis. This is how you get the new Confederate states.
That shit has to get taken down because those were symbols of hate, right? Because like if they had Chewbacca doing the Nazi salute, you know what I'm saying, and giving the middle finger in the middle of the movie, then I'd be like, yeah, man, because like, it just doesn't work. But like, you're changing things that don't need to be changed, and you're just doing it because you can. That's what it is.
Right. But like a movie like that came out 50 years ago, right? Mad problematic by today's standards.
So Birth of the Nation, I wouldn't say go and re-edit Birth of a Nation. I would say keep that as a lesson, because there's lessons to be learned from Birth of a Nation.
Right, but we can't bury it.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right.
It doesn't have to be celebrated, but you can't bury it. And that's like what I'm afraid is going to happen. I'm going to
be real with you. Triumph of the Will. That is a movie that nobody should watch, but there's stuff in Triumph of the Will where I'm like, well, that's good filmmaking. And I understand why people signed up to be a Nazi after watching this movie.
Right? It's just like you can't forget. You can't try to hide the past. And so that's what I'm afraid is going to happen going forward, is that we're going to start taking out things in movies that we find problematic now that weren't problematic back then, but then that takes away like a whole entire conversation piece.
I say just we got to keep it what it is, because it opens up conversations of what not to do going forward.
Right, exactly. You can't, if you take it out, right? If we took out the guns in E.T., which we did, then we couldn't have, you show the movie to a kid now, you can't have a conversation about...
I mean... The walkie-talkie version of E.T., you can only get that if you have the DVD. And as far as I know, those DVDs only exist for people who actually bought those. Like that, Spielberg went back and destroyed every version of that walkie-talkie. He's like, I should not have listened to George, is what he said.
Right. And so, like, I just don't want us to get into a habit of just like destroying art because we find it offensive.
Well, here's my thing, and this is what I think. This is what it pertains to Lucas. Like as a filmmaker, your movie's never done in your eyes, like never finished. But at a certain point, you gotta let it go because now you're just changing shit just for the sake of changing shit, and it doesn't even match up with maybe the intent of the scene, the intent of the character, or the story that's being told here. Like, so much has been changed in that first Star Wars movie that the intent of stuff has changed.
Right.
Like, when people make a big deal of Han shooting first, that's part of his character. Like, we don't need Han to be a out and out good guy. That's his arc of the movie. Right. Especially watching Return of the Jedi, I was just like, oh, he's not that piece of shit he was in the first movie. He's now like fully formed good guy. Especially like, I love that interaction where they're like, okay, we're going to send a group on a mission to deactivate the shield on Endor. And Leia goes, oh, I wonder who they got to get that. And he's like, yeah, I wonder who. And then they're like, General Solo will lead the mission. And everybody looks at him like, what? I love that shit.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, there comes a certain point where you're changing the story for that, and it just doesn't match.
Yeah. So, but this is a larger academic conversation. But yeah, I can see how those two changes in Jedi is a domino effect.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to trailer talk.
Roll camera and action.
It's time for some trailer talk.
All right. What do we want to start with?
Let's start with White Man Can't Jump. Callmatic. Look, I don't know what happened with House Party, but this looks much better.
Right. I really can't tell if Jack Harlow can act or not from this trailer because it's smartly edited, but this seems like a movie I actually want to see.
Right.
Unlike House Party.
Right. And it's on Hulu.
Yeah, there we go. So it's a no risk venture for me to watch this.
American Born Chinese is based off a very popular novel, and this trailer, I was just like, I'll give it an episode. I'll give it a few episodes because the trailer didn't really do anything for me.
I thought it was going to be a really interesting drama before all the superhero shit started. I was like, oh man, I thought it was going to be like, is Disney going to do a drama, some like an actual real movie? It's like, nah, there's some superhero shit. But it looks better than Shang-Chi.
White Bird. I don't like that Wonder is a franchise now, and this looks like the same saccharine bullshit that the first movie was. Like, yo, if you're gonna tell me a story, a sad story, tell me a sad story. But I hate being emotionally manipulated.
Well, I mean, look, there is a whole entire subset of people who love that shit. That's why Hallmark movies are a thing. So I'm never gonna see this, but I don't judge anyone who is like, oh, they made another Wonder movie. In the Wonderverse. I'm mad there's a Wonderverse, though.
The last voyage of the Demeter. This shit looks hard as fuck. Just when I thought we've run out of ways to do Dracula, we find an interesting angle.
Well, isn't this based on not Edgar Allan Poe? Is it? Or is this a Lovecraft story?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I think it's a Lovecraft story. But I'm surprised that we haven't done this before now. It looks good. We'll see though. We'll see.
It is a fucking what's it called? A DreamWorks movie. It's nice to see a DreamWorks movie that's not animated. This is based on the Captain's Log. It's a chapter in Dracula.
Okay. All right.
So with that, let's move on to the Equalizer 3.
Look, all you had to do was say Equalizer 3.
Denzel's coming back to finish the trilogy with Antoine Fuqua. I think this is going to be the only time he does he plays the same character.
Right. My favorite genre is Denzel Washington on a revenge mission. And the Equalizer movies, I saw Equalizer 2 a couple of weeks ago. They're not the best movies at all, but they're great escapist fucking action movies. I love it. Like this sold me.
Well, I'm glad it gets to be a trilogy, and I hope it ties into the TV show, so that way it'll make me invested to watch the TV show. Just say, "Hey, cousin," that's all you need. "Hey, cousin," a phone call.
All right. Well, maybe.
All right. Insidious: The Red Door. I like the first two Insidiouses. I like the first one more than the second one. I thought the second one was a good ending, and then they made the two other movies that had nothing to do with nothing. And I was like, this should have been the third movie.
So this is the fifth movie then?
Yeah.
I only saw the first one. The first one was terrifying to me.
And then they made a direct sequel to that. James Wan, Everybody Came Back. That's a direct sequel to that. Then the third movie is a prequel where the paranormal, the two dudes and the old lady help some little girl. And then I'll be honest with you, I can't tell you shit about the fourth one, and I don't care.
Right. And like this one, it looks meh.
It looks cool to me. I wish this is what the movie should have been after the second one if we were going to keep doing it. Honestly, 2 should have been it. Like 2 wrapped up their story, but the way they're doing it, it makes sense. Like in this trailer, I was like, okay, that makes sense. So I'm interested in it.
I got to go back and watch at least number 2.
All right, well, let's get into our next Perot movie, A Haunting in Venice, and they've really switched gears. Like people who watch this trailer are going to expect a modern day horror movie, and when they go see this, there's going to be like, oh, it's a murder mystery with ghosts. They're going to be very disappointed, which is hilarious.
Death on the Nile. Like I said, it didn't click for me until halfway through. I'm not going to make that mistake with this one. Like I'm going to give it my full attention. It looks good. It looks much moodier and darker than any of the other Perot movies. It feels like a horror movie.
This feels like false advertising, what it is.
Oh, yeah.
This is 100% false advertising.
Yeah.
I just hope that when the press screening comes, I get a 70 millimeter press screening because I want to see this shit in 70. Because he shoots all these shits in 70 millimeter.
I just don't want any Dutch angles. That's
his bread and butter.
That's his thing, but it's like too many Dutch angles.
Next Goal Wins. The movie Taika made before Thor: Love and Thunder. He made this movie like 4 years ago. It's finally coming out.
Man, it looks good. Looks, everybody needs a Cool Runnings. Like every culture needs a Cool Runnings movie.
Cool to see Michael Fassbender again. Like he's been off the grid for a minute.
Yeah, and like I don't think I've ever seen Fassbender in a comedy.
Yeah, this is like his first comedy.
Yeah, so like let's see what he does. Looks interesting. Looks good.
Wish. This looks cheap. This looks cheap as fuck. It looks like a direct-to-video animated film.
See, I felt the other way around. I like the animation, and I like the fact that they made an entire movie around When You Wish, Upon a Star, like the Disney theme song. So I want to see where they go story-wise with this. It could be interesting.
That's a hard pass. Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I really like the book. Watching this trailer, I was just like, this, it looks fine, but it doesn't look like what it could be. I'm going to be real with you. Like, Francis Lawrence, he went hard on that second movie. Like, that second movie is pretty fucking good. And the third movie was... those third and fourth movies, they are what they are because the book sucked. Like, the book fucking sucked. So it was just the adaptation of the book that made those movies suck. I don't know. This just seems like it was made by like a run-of-the-mill director for hire. I don't know. I'll give it a chance, but like it's coming out when there's so
In
much
August,
other
right?
shit coming out.
Right.
Like the Marvels comes out the week before, Dune comes out the week before that, and it's just like, well, I mean, bad news for the Marvels because this fan base is huge.
Yeah, like I was never all that invested in the Hunger Games. Like they were fine. They were fine movies to me, but like I was never going to run out and like, oh, the new Hunger Games is hitting theaters. This looks like a prequel.
Well,
Like that's what it looks like. It looks like a prequel.
You know
That's
why
fine.
this book was written though, right?
Why?
Lionsgate contacted Suzanne Collins. It was like, yeah, we need to keep this franchise going. So can you come up with a way to keep this money train rolling? And she's like, oh, I got an idea for a prequel with Snow.
Okay.
And props for her to actually not being creatively bankrupt about it. Like it's a good book, but it's just like, that's how hard up they are for franchises. You're sitting there laughing, but I mean, when a studio's literally calling up at Arthur and is like, yo, we need to keep pumping shit out of this IP. I mean,
I don't know what to say.
I feel like Lionsgate's on the brink of like bankrupt. Like if it wasn't for John Wick, I feel like they'd be on the brink of bankruptcy.
I mean, even with John Wick, they're on the brink of bankruptcy. It's like Lionsgate seems like they're trying real hard, right? But behind the scenes, it's like a kitchen fire, and they're just trying to just put out the fire with extinguishers and shit like that. Every day is just them closer to chaos.
It lives inside. This is from Neon, and honestly, I expected better. This looks okay. Like from indie studios, I expect your horror movies to be terrifying.
Right. I'm glad to see that they're incorporating Indian lore into, horror movies, but this looks basic as shit.
Yeah, it looks like a studio movie.
Yeah.
Extraction 2.
Look, I don't care how they bring him back. I love the first Extraction. It was too good a movie to be on Netflix.
It was all right. It was all right. The action was hot though, but as a movie, it was okay. But the action was hot.
Next level.
Like he killed him. His name's Tyler Rake, and the first thing he does is kill a man with a rake in the first action sequence.
But like the trailer for the second one, yo.
They knew that they had a hit after the first one. Like they're like, right. Oh, okay, well, Netflix could give us a blank check and we could. Again, I don't understand why this is not going to theaters. Like Netflix is just.
The first one needed to be played big. That whole entire chase from the building into the cars.
Yeah, the Warner.
Yeah, that was fucking masterfully done. That would have played great in a theater.
I don't know what you want me to say, man. Like, yo, Netflix, y'all could easily be okay and out of your $10 billion debt if you wanted to, but you guys do the stupidest shit possible. Even there's not every movie, but even Hulu's putting some of their Fox movies in theaters.
Right.
Come on, man. Chevalier went to theaters.
Like fucking Prey. They put Prey in theaters, Like you have these big movies that need to be played.
All right, well, and let's get into our final trailer, The Marvels. This looks just like every fucking Marvel movie. Like, I'm tired of this shit, to be honest with you. And I love the characters. Like, Photon's a great character. She was the best character in WandaVision. Miss Marvel, one of my favorite projects of Phase 4. And like Carol, I like Carol from the comics. She's a cool character, but this just looks like some dumb shit, honestly. The Freaky Friday shit is so corny. I'm sorry, it's corny.
That's the thing that got me to actually like kind of lock in a little bit. Is like, oh, I was wondering how they were going to approach this story, right? And seeing it in the trailer is like, all right, that's a cool concept. I love Kamala Khan, or whatever like that. But here's the thing: I know that the trailer is going to be far better than anything I see in this movie.
Look, I love Nia DaCosta as a director. Like, I don't really fuck with Candyman, but her direction in that movie was amazing. Her first movie is amazing. Little Woods, amazing.
Right.
I watched this trailer and I just don't see her style in this at all. It looks like a Marvel movie.
Well, not to go back, to like the last episode of Barry.
Yeah, where he shits on Marvel. Like, he straight up says, like, I'm the director. They got the director of Coda to do a little cameo in this episode. She's like, yeah, I'm the director of Coda, and now I'm making somebody dangle 10 feet in front of a green screen.
Right. You know, and like, that's how I feel when they get these prestige directors, you know, like these prestige indie directors to do these fucking these Marvel movies. It's like, you're why?
Look, I can't, I'm not going to shit completely on it just because, again, Nia DaCosta is a great director and it's cool to see a young black woman be given the opportunity to do this. But this comes out the week after Dune. Like, I'm going to go see Dune again out of spite. And they're taking IMAX screens away from Dune to play this shit?
Yeah.
For this shit? Really?
Yeah.
This is... October was wide open, y'all. And y'all decided to squeeze yourselves in between Dune and Hunger Games. And even Hunger Games looks better than this. I'm sorry. And I was lukewarm on that Hunger Games trailer.
Right.
So, I mean, you tell me. Y'all, listen... Y'all better hope this movie's good. Like, y'all better hope that they screen it early for us like they did with Guardians. Like, because this looks like some bullshit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm not going out to... I'm not... Unless it's for the podcast, I'm not... Unless we get a free screening for it or whatever like that, I'm not going to a theater with regular people to see this shit.
I will say this now. I was going to hold this off for the review, but... Guardians 3 reminded me what these things were. And it's so good that I know that we are going to go back right into the bullshit we were getting prior to Guardians 3. So unless I get a press screening, I'm done with the MCU. Like, I will watch these movies for this show, but I'm going, me personally, to watch these or go to the theater and see these. There's no need anymore. There's really no need.
There's no excitement. And we might as well just go into the main review right now.
Yeah, let's get into the main review.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The Film Blurds feature film review.
All right. So, I didn't want to say it, but I was feeling it. You said it outside the theater, and I'm glad you said it first. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is the best Marvel movie since Endgame.
Yeah, I'm lucky, and I think I want to give a big shout out to Disney and specifically IMAX. Y'all thought I was enough of an influencer and special enough to give me a second screening of this movie. After seeing it a second time, to me, this is the best of the trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of felt that way when I came out of the screening. The first one is always the first one.
Right.
Because it's new, it's fresh, exciting. You haven't seen anything like it before. So that's always going to hold a place in your heart.
Right.
But this third one, everything in it is better than what we've seen in the previous two And like, even if you want to count Endgame and like Infinity Wars and all the other appearances of the Guardians, this is the best they have ever been.
This was my problem, because going back and preparing for this movie, I realized we are 4 years out from Endgame and we're still dealing with Endgame. Like, everything that has to deal with the fallout from Endgame should have came much, much sooner. This one, I understand why it didn't come sooner. For those of you who don't know, a political social media influencer, Mike Krenovich, a big Trump guy, dug up old tweets from James Gunn, because James Gunn was constantly tweeting negative things about Trump, and, you know, rightfully so. Got him fired for some edgelord. Their tweets, like I said on previous episode, the tweets were edgelord tweets made when we didn't really know how to use Twitter or what exactly Twitter was. We didn't realize the tool that it is to connect with people and get news out there, or to connect with fans and stuff like that. He got fired. Like, they got scared and he got fired. As soon as he got fired, WB's like, oh, fuck that. Like, come make some DC shit. And, you know, we saw Suicide Squad. We were all proud of it. And then lo and behold, he's like, they're like, yeah, so you're running DC now. You and Peter Safran are co-running DC. So this is it. Because before he got fired, the plan was he was going to make Guardians 3, and then all the cosmic stuff, so like all the stuff in space, that was going to be his. Like, remember when after the first Avengers where Joss Whedon took the lead and he was like the creative director of Phase 2? And
Right.
why a lot of those Phase 2 movies were good, like Shane Black's Iron Man 3, Winter Soldier, this Guardians movie. Yeah, that was because of that. So when people tell me they hate Age of Ultron and that was Joss Whedon's fault, I'm like, yeah, some of that was his fault. The other part of it was the Marvel Creative Committee, because they told him he had to do all this shit, and that was like 5 different movies rolled into one, because he was answering to 6 different people.
Right.
So now he came back, he made this, and he's gone. And it's a real shame that they lost James Gunn, because, as Jeff said, when I walked out of this, I was just like, you haven't seen stuff like this in a Marvel movie in a long time. It was something with a sense of scale where it feels big, it feels epic. There's sets. The characters are really there interacting with each other. And Jeff said it best. He's like, that's because it wasn't a Marvel movie. It was a James Gunn movie.
100%. 100%. And here's the thing. This has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And
it's a beautiful end.
It really is. And you don't have to have history with all of these other fucking franchises and all the TV shows, right, to enjoy this movie. Like, it informs it. It can make it better for you, but you don't need it.
Well, obviously, you have to watch the first 2 Guardians, and you have to watch the 2 Avengers movies, like Infinity War and Endgame, because those directly impact these movies, and they talk about it directly. Right. And then if you want, like, definitely watch the holiday special, so you understand why they own Nowhere, how they operate out of Nowhere. But you could skip Love and Thunder. Like, Love and Thunder, that was some bullshit to throw Thor in there with them. And even Taika was like, why'd y'all do this? That's why I love Love and Thunder, because the first 10 minutes, they were just like, all right, we're done with you. We're getting out of here. And even James Gunn said, like, Taika did me a solid by getting them out of there as quick as he did.
Yeah. I don't know how to properly express how emotional this movie is, right?
Well, like, let's start off right at the beginning, man, because they established a somber tone from the get-go. Like, it starts off, and this movie is somber as fuck. Like, the opening credits sequence, like, that set to an acoustic version of Radiohead's Creep, probably the best use of that song ever. the Guardians movies have been family friendly. This one isn't, because this one starts off with Peter so grief stricken. He's drunk as shit, drooling all over himself. And I was just like, I would not let a kid watch this shit. The main character drooling on himself, and all the fucking Guardians are looking at him disappointed, like, oh, God damn it, again. And they're all about to cry because they're tired of seeing their friends suffer like this.
Right. And then we get into Rocket's origins, right? His origins, because this whole entire movie, it flashes, back and forth between Rocket's origins and
the
like
mission.
a situation in the mission. And how is it that Rocket Raccoon has one of the best emotional arcs in this whole entire fucking franchise?
Well, yeah, because he said it. James Gunn said it the best, that Rocket Raccoon is the secret protagonist of this trilogy. Like, the main protagonist is Peter, but really the secondary protagonist is Rocket, and and it doesn't click until you see all three together.
Yeah, and honestly, like, after seeing this third one, I'm going to go back and watch the other two and just go at it that this is Rocket's movie.
Right. Right. I'm gonna say this: if you love animals, don't see this movie, because honestly, don't take your kids, because this is one of the most violent and disturbing Marvel movies.
High body count.
It is wild. Like, there's only one other Marvel movie where I was like, I don't know if I'd show a kid that, and that's Infinity War, because Infinity War is fucking violent and disturbing too, and this one. It's like this and Infinity War. Like, this is like pushing that PG-13. Like, everybody had their clutching their pearls over Multiverse of Madness. I'm like, no, it's this one. No. This one, I'm like, how did this not get an R rating is beyond me.
And like, you really see James Gunn's horror roots.
Oh yeah,
in this shit.
Yeah, like. You heard us say it before. Well, me specifically, I said Suicide Squad is a trauma, not trauma. It's like a grindhouse movie. Right. This, more than Suicide Squad, feels like a trauma movie. Like, one of the places they have to infiltrate is made of organic matter. It looks like cancer cells. I was just like, and before they infiltrate that, when they jump out into space, has the best needle drop of the movie. That song fits those images perfectly. I was just like, holy shit. And the emotionality of that fucking scene with that song, everything went hand in hand. That's my favorite needle drop of the whole movie, besides Creep.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of needle drops in this, and like, it was almost too much for me, but then like on just like some distance is like it works, because the Guardians movies have always been kind of predicated on the soundtrack,
right? That's James Gunn's trademark.
Yeah, but like, the music works.
I've noticed that James Gunn has become more frantic and more hyperactive as a director, and it really started with the Suicide Squad, where the way he's constantly moving the camera, that carries over into this one with the camera move. So he said, they asked him, they're like, did you shoot this in the volume like every other Marvel movie? He's like, no, we didn't use the volume because the volume doesn't allow camera movements. So we shot sets in green screen, and the green screen, this is the most it's looked polished and ready in a long time. I know we said that before, but I really mean it. This looks like a finished film.
It's beautiful. It's like beautifully shot.
Yeah.
And like beautifully realized, and everything looks like they cared about it. Right? Like, the production design, the sound.
Yeah,
like,
this is perfectly mixed. Like, I will say that. Like, when me and Jeff saw it at the 8-story IMAX. By the way, see this in IMAX, because both of my screenings were in IMAX. We saw it there, and I saw it in the Chamonix my second time. I didn't even know they were doing it until like that day. They were like, hey, you want to see it again? We'll hold seats for you and a guest. And I was like, fuck yeah. Neshamny's IMAX. Y'all gotta fix that. Turn down the sound a little bit. Fix the sound. It's too loud. And that's the only IMAX theater I've been to where I'm like, that's too loud.
I felt the same way when I went to see Mario there. Like I couldn't even hear the dialogue.
Yeah, man, because New Brunswick, it's loud, but you can hear what they're saying. Same at Lincoln Square. It's loud, but you can hear the dialogue perfectly. Neshaminy is so loud that at points I couldn't even hear what they were saying. And I had to tell my brother after the movie, I'm like, this movie has the best sound design and sound mixing in a blockbuster movie in a long time. And they drowned. It's so loud that you can't hear what they're saying. And my brother's like, oh, no. I understand that wasn't the movie's fault because the sound mixing in the movie is incredible. It's just, you're right. It was too loud and it just drowned out the dialogue.
Right. And
the mixing, of dialogue. Because it was so loud, though, the mixing was incredible, though, that second time, hearing it move around you in that IMAX theater. Because since Neshaminy upgraded to laser, when you upgrade to laser, you get a 12 system sound stage. So it mimics Atmos. So it's around you. That picture is the best I've ever seen ever. But that was my least favorite experience. It's like, I'm going to Neshaminy, getting to Neshaminy, getting out of Neshaminy, the people at Neshaminy. That's the last time I'm going to fuck with that theater for a minute.
Yeah, well, but on that dialogue, this is the funniest of the three movies, and it's hilarious.
Here's the thing that makes this good, though, the humor. This is not Marvel humor where it's like, look how stupid this is, ha ha ha, or they throw in a joke and it's awkward. All the humor comes from the situations and the character. So it never kills that sad, somber tone that runs throughout the movie. Like, even when they're cracking jokes, it's still sad as fuck.
Yeah. And let's talk about how Marvel fucked up and they didn't make the High Evolutionary the big bad for this phase. Right?
I'm going to disagree with you there, but you make your point.
Well, I'm just saying that this character is a villain. Right?
Oh, yeah. A piece of shit.
I've never, in any of these movies, I've never hated a motherfucker more than this dude. Right? I couldn't wait for them to win just to fuck this dude up. Right? I can't. I don't want to fuck up his name.
Chudy Wadudi. I think that's how you say it. Chudy Wadudi. Because I heard him say his name on Instagram last night, and I think he said it. Chudy Wadudi.
Chudy Wadudi.
He's in Peacemaker, and he was great in Peacemaker. So shout out to James Gunn for recognizing talent and is being like, "Yo, let's put you in a Marvel so you could get paid."
Right, but he fucking kills this role.
He was eating, son. He was eating. He was like doing Shakespeare. He took that shit like he was doing Shakespeare.
Because he would go from tenderness to menace in the same fucking scene, in the same moment, right? He was fucking magnificent. And to the fuckboy on Twitter that complained that they got a black dude to play the High Evolutionary in Guardians 3, I hope nothing good happens to you for the rest of your life. Everything that you eat tastes like ash in your mouth, and you get all sorts of ass polyps.
I want to say, I think it's funny that this is James Gunn just doubled down on saying fuck you to Mike Krenovich and Trump, and this is what I got out of it, okay? The High Evolutionary to me is Trump, because he is a middle-aged man, superpowered. He's literally a superpowered middle-aged man with a god complex who runs a corporation, and these are characters, our heroes, are fighting for one of their own to get them health care from this giant corporation.
I mean, that's a bit of, I get it. That's a bit of a stretch for me.
How's it a stretch?
That's a bit of a stretch. What?
How's it a stretch?
It's
Like, dog, you cannot tell me this dude, like, yo, if you put an orange wig on him, I'd be like, yeah.
No, but this dude's smart.
Well, have you recently, everybody has been turning against Trump, and at the end of the movie, everybody turns against the High Evolutionary.
Well, yeah, because he's so obsessed
with power.
Obsessed with Rocket, honestly.
Yeah, but
more
that
than anything,
plays into the power because Rocket is so smart and he wants to make the smartest the best because everything has to be the best. We're the greatest.
I see it, but I'm like, that's a step too far, but I can see how you made the connection and I'm not disagreeing with you. It's just like I don't think they were thinking that way.
Oh, I do. James Gunn's a smart motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not a smart motherfucker. I'm just saying like that's the parallels between Trump and him, surface level at best. But go ahead. But that doesn't take anything away from this fucking movie. And it's 2 hours and a half and it flies. That's
one of my problems, right? Even watching it the second time, I'm like, all right, it's 2.5 hours. It moves fast, but I would like some of this to breathe a little bit, especially like the more emotional parts. Just a little bit of breathing room.
Right. And,
And my second complaint is the High Evolutionary screams too much. Like, just a tad too much.
Well, I get you. Everybody in this movie has an arc.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Rocket and Peters are the best for me. Like, especially Peters kind of hit me hard. It's just like, damn, you don't get that type of ending in these type of movies.
Yeah, and like, there's one post-credit scene.
Two.
Well, that's a mid-credit scene, right?
There's 2 mid-credits.
All right.
And then one post.
Oh, okay. Like, the post-credit scene is cute. One of the mid-credit scenes is fucking fabulous, right? And it sets up for how this could go further.
I think that's just a little nod. I don't think that's setting it up just because.
No, but like
end credits kind of reiterates what's coming next, and that doesn't seem that's in the cards.
Well, I'm just saying it's left open that could happen, but it's nice. It's nice.
I think that would have happened if James Gunn wasn't preemptively fired. Yeah, and that happened without Kevin Feige even knowing. He didn't know about that until he saw it with the rest of us in the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, where he's like, "What the fuck?" So now y'all lost one of your biggest talents in this franchise. So I mean, look, this movie's very good. Like, the set pieces are so well done. Like, I didn't realize it the first time. Second time, there's a oneer near the end of the movie that had me the second time. I was like, yo, I got to clap for this. That was awesome. It was one of the best oneers I've seen in a minute.
Are we talking about the fight scene?
Yeah.
The battles?
Yeah.
Look, I don't know how I can watch any of, like, going forward, I can watch any of these other Marvel movies. Like, because this has set the bar so high, right? Anything else is going to be a disappointment after this.
James Gunn cares, right? Like, he said before and after his firing, the script only changed like a little bit, like 10%. So this is still his original script. My thing is had they gotten somebody else to make this, it would be good, but it wouldn't be this good. This clearly is a personal movie made by somebody who was going through some things at the time he wrote it that helped him get through to where he is now. I don't think we're going to get a movie this personal from the MCU again. I don't think we're going to get a movie with actual character work like this again. I don't think we're going to get characters that have pathos like this. Like, bro, Rocket Raccoon shouldn't have a better emotional arc than Doctor Strange.
Right.
Like,
right.
Doctor Strange doesn't really have an arc in Multiverse of Madness. Ant-Man, does he learn anything in Quantum Mania?
Does he? I can't remember that movie.
Like,
honestly.
is he humble? I don't even think he was humbled by the end of the movie because, you know, his ego was inflated at the beginning. And I don't even know if he went through that arc of being humbled or appreciating what he had.
Yeah, but like I have no idea. All I know is that it's the work that Bradley Cooper did with Rocket Raccoon in this fucking movie.
Voice wise.
Like voice wise. Right. It's just
because the mocap is somebody else. Right.
But like you didn't have to go this hard, man. Like you tried to remind us that you're an actual fucking actor.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think this is really thematically resonant on so many different levels. Jeff might not agree, but I think if you want to dig deeper like I do and everything, it's there for you to dig deeper. And it just works as an entertaining movie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like beginning, middle, like you said, it has a beginning, middle, and end. I think this is some of the best action we've seen out of Marvel since Endgame too. Like, even I'm trying to think, what has had good action like this?
I can't really remember anything that's happened in the MCU for this phase,
right? Because I remember they kept hyping up Moon Knight about how insanely violent that was, and I'm like, that is child's play compared to this. Like, Moon Knight wasn't that bad in all retrospect.
Right, like
it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but it wasn't OD violent.
Like Werewolf by Night was more violent than Moon Knight.
Yeah. This I'm really surprised Disney's letting this go through.
Look, I'm glad they did. I'm glad. This skirts is real close to an R. As close as you're gonna get.
I'm going to see this one more time. I want to see it in IMAX 3D because I read a couple of tweets in an article where the people who worked on the first two for the 3D for the first two said the 3D was the best in this one. And the first two, the press screenings were in 3D, and that was some of the best 3D. So I'm going to give it a chance in 3D. I trust James Gunn with that shit. He cares, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this movie. I haven't wanted to see a Marvel movie more than once this whole entire phase.
Yeah,
except for this one.
Yeah. Because Ant-Man Quantumania is dropping May 15th, right on Disney Plus.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna watch it.
Oh no,
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I haven't felt the need to revisit that. Shang-Chi. Why bother?
I'd say the only one I've revisited multiple times and still enjoyed was Eternals, a movie.
Right.
Only movie. And even I got some enjoyment out of Black Widow because at least I could be like, all right, this was a one-off. There's some cool shit in that. But other than those two, I guess it's just this one. And honestly, if I was told like, hey, no more Marvel press screenings for you guys, I'd be like, all right, fine then. This is it for me then.
All right, that's cool.
Like, I'm sticking around because I want to see Black Captain America. Like, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to be good. I want to see. I'm praying because I want this. At least one movie in my lifetime. I would like one Fantastic Four movie to be good. So I'm hoping that's going to be good. But seeing as they just recently hired a person to rewrite the script, that's a. And
honestly, I'm looking forward to the train wreck that's going to be Blade.
It's wild because I keep hearing all these stories about Blade and none that I want to talk about just because I don't want to add to the conjecture and make us look stupid. But like, I've heard so many stories. I'm just like, there's no way this movie's going to be good. If it is good, great. I'm happy.
Right.
But like, at this point with the MCU, I'm just like, yo, call me when y'all do Galactus. Like, I'm gonna go to sleep. Like, call me when you guys do Miles Morales live action and Galactus, because I'm gonna go to sleep.
Like, I'll if you want to find me, I'll be in the DCU neighborhood with James Gunn.
Because really, that's the only shit I really want to see is Galactus at this point in time. Like, he's one of my favorite villains. So, and if that rumor's true that he's just gonna be in Fantastic Four and that's it, then seriously, fuck this shit.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, James Gunn. Once again, you have made one of the best movies in that perspective universe. I will say Suicide Squad is probably one of my favorite. His Suicide Squad is one of my favorite movies in the DCU. And I'm going to say this Guardians 3 is up there with one of the greatest Marvel movies we've gotten.
Yeah, man, because like rewatching, like I said, I rewatched Iron Man 3, I rewatched Winter Soldier, and I was just like, damn, remember when these used to be movies and they actually gave a shit? And now, and like rewatching this, I was just like, yo, why don't we do this more often? Like, y'all are just pumping these out just to feed the fucking beast. And now it's backfired because people don't even want the beast. Like, y'all put out Ant-Man, which is supposed to be the big one, and everybody was like, nah, we're good.
And let's talk about just to circle back. Let's talk about Iron Man 3, because like everybody I talk to fucking shits on Iron Man 3, but you know what? It's its own fucking movie, right? It's got a clear, definitive voice. It's fun. It's funny. It's got a beginning, middle, and end. You know, just because it, yeah. So, but anyway, these movies, like you said, used to be good. Yeah.
Now they literally are just like, yo, let's feed the beast. Let's give the fans what they want, because no matter what, there's people I know and there's people you know who are gonna love these no matter what. Like, there's people. There's one dude who swears up and down that I'm quote unquote wrong about Multiverse of Madness.
Who the fuck are you?
Off show.
Okay.
Off show.
All right.
Yeah, and I realized this is just a dude who loves Marvel no matter what. They can do no wrong. And I realized his brother, because I remember, like, I started getting pissed when he's like, no, you're wrong. I started getting pissed because I'm like, how the fuck am I wrong? It's my opinion. And then I realized his brother turned and looked at me. He's just like, yo. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I understand now.
Anyway,
speaking of, after my second time, there's a bunch of fucking nerds in front of me. They did the most getting there. They're first people in line. Did the most to get there. I guess they got there at 2 p.m.
Right. What? Are you serious? What time was the screening?
What?
What time was the screening?
7.
Jesus Christ!
They got the best seats in the theater, right?
Right.
The chick that was with them, her seat wouldn't recline. She went to every seat in that row to see if it was just her seat. She climbed over the seat with her flashlight on her phone to fix the shit.
Okay.
Yeah. And after she did all that, her and her 2 friends that she was with, they're two fucking dudes. After all that, they just went, yeah, that movie was okay. It ain't anything.
Wait, so they were there from 2 p.m., right?
I'm guessing so, man. Because I got there at 5, and the dude in front of me is like, hey, I got here at 4.
All right, so... all right, fuck him.
Yeah, man. I mean, Jeff, I mean, I guess we should talk about our experience real quick, before and after the movie, because it was a clusterfuck all around. So I'll start.
All right.
Before I get there, because this is the IMAX theater, one of the best IMAX theaters in the world, right? Lincoln Square. I get there super early, first person there. Table starts setting up, and I go up to them. I'm like, yo, you guys doing Guardians? And they go, no, we wish. We're doing Are You Here, God? Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. I'm like, this movie opens in 2 hours. What do you mean? They're like, yeah, we're doing a double ARP screening. I'm like, that's wild. I was like, Lionsgate's been screening this movie for 4 weeks, and they're still paying for screenings that start when the movie comes out. Whatever. We all stand there, and then I see the manager set up another table on the other side of the theater, and I go up to her, and I was like, is this and she's like, yeah, but you're gonna have to stand outside. We're like, I'm pressed. We're pressed. We don't stand outside. Like, we never stand outside. Because the line started getting long, and she swore up and down, it's prime time at our theater at this time. I'm like, 7 p.m. on a Monday, this theater's fucking dead. She moved us outside anyway. All these critics, and critics I know personally, not know them personally, but know their work personally, walk past me pissed off. Just looking angry, like, what the fuck are we doing? We're waiting for these 2 chicks to show up. They finally show up. They're like, all right, go in, check in. Go up to the desk. There's some old man and his daughter there. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? He didn't
They didn't stay in the line at all. They were just like, oh, is this the line for? Is this where we get our Guardians tickets?
And that pissed me off because those 2 women helped that one dude and his girl. Meanwhile, when we get there, the one rep's like, are you 2 together? We're like, yeah. They're like, okay, can you move over to just her? And I was like, it took 2 of you bitches to help one dude, but for us, our name's not on the list. I had to show them the confirmation email and everything. And I'm like, fuck, man, we're not going to get our seats. Get our tickets.
But Brandon, what color was the man?
Oh, he was I want to say 60, 70-year-old white man.
Oh, he was white. That's
yeah. Our
interesting.
Our Disney rep forgot to put our names on the list after I emailed her, like, hey, are we good for this screening? Yeah, you're good. You're going to get the confirmation email. Get that. So we get inside the IMAX theater, and I run up the stairwell that nobody uses. I run up, get our seats. I was like, all right, Jeff, we're here. We're good. My boys sit with us. After the movie, we get on the train, and as we're getting to Penn Station, I see our train is canceled. I was like, fuck, all right. We got 30 minutes to kill. Let's use the bathroom, and then let's go outside and bullshit for a minute. Do that. Get on the train. And that train is OD packed, and they decide to start playing fucking games on the train. People are being rude. Some dude just screaming at people, make way, move out of the way, make way. Indian girl standing in front of me saying the wildest shit where I'm just sitting there laughing, and the black girl, she sees me laughing and she's hearing everything too. Like, this Indian girl, she's just speaking what's on her mind. Like, that shit was wild.
Like, she was like fucking talking shit on people from Jersey, people from Connecticut. Yeah. It was like, what? Do you like anybody?
I was like, damn, bitch. Black lady started tweaking when we got to North Elizabeth. She's like, y'all make me miss my stop. Y'all made me miss my stop. Mind you, we stopped at North Elizabeth, but the doors never opened because that wasn't a stop on the fucking train. We're like, lady, we're not at the station. The doors never opened. She's like, we're right there. The doors didn't open. The door, y'all ain't let me out. Let me out. And we're like, yo, this is wild. Meanwhile, across from us is fucking Cocaine Don Johnson just sitting there
talking about bands.
Just rapid fire talking like he did a whole suitcase. Talking to his boy. He's like, yo, Mountain, they signed my guitar, man. All the members of Mountain. Oh, Mick Jagger signed my vinyl, man. It was... And I just couldn't stop laughing because this dude looked like he stepped out of Miami Vice, like the TV show, the 80s TV show. He looked like it. And like every time I looked at him, I just pictured push it to the limit. It was wild. It was a wild, stressful night. And I'm glad we don't have a screening for another week and a half. Like, not till Fast X, because that was a night. That was a night.
Right. But to say all that, the movie made it worth it.
Yeah.
To go through all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I hate people. Like people at both screenings. I was just like, I hate these people. Yo, the people, the reps for the second screening I went to, there were 2 college interns, and they showed up like 20 minutes before the movie started. And they're looking, they're like, oh, sorry, we're late. Even the security people, they were there an hour early, and they're just like, where the fuck are these people?
That's what happens when you get the interns to do shit.
Yo, man.
On a weekend.
Yo. Ooh. They didn't even hold their seats. They got shitty seats. Like, they let people in the theater. And I was like, y'all didn't think to go in first, put your coats down, and hold your seats?
Like, no, why would they do that? That would be smart. That would be a thing that you should do.
Yo, all right, I hate people. And that's it. Go see Guardians 3.
Go see Guardians 3.
In IMAX.
Yeah, that's it. It's episode 83.
Yeah, peace.
We're the Film Blurs. I'm Brandon Norwood, and I'm the motherfucking protagonist.
I'm the protagonist.
I'm Jeff Stewart, a.k.a. He Who Remains.
Don't come at us. It's just fucking movies. You've been listening to the Film Blurs podcast.
Man, I just love what you guys do, man.
I never miss an episode. It's the best. It's my favorite podcast.
Follow Jeff on IG on MindFireXL and Brandon on Twitter at BJN Tweets.